going, everybody? Welcome back to Tour Life. Today is Tuesday, October 21st. The season has officially ended, unless you want to count the Disc Golf Pro Tour match play, which apparently no one is going to. And we have a lot to discuss tonight, folks. We had a little bit of drama, I would say, throughout the FPO field yesterday, but the real storylines all came from the MPO side. A hole that they tried to hide, a hole that they tried to make us all forget about from Worlds is the only thing we are talking about. It's funny how that works sometimes. We have Calvin Heimburg on tonight, as well as the man who came so close to taking down the $30,000 cash prize. Aaron Gossage will be joining the show again. A lot to discuss. I'm going to ask you guys how you're doing real quick, because Calvin needs the link to get in. So how you guys doing?
I'm doing good. You said the season's over, but I got a salty little C tier I'm playing this weekend. So my season's coming in full stride.
I love it.
Salty little C tier, and it's only 2 minutes from my house, bro.
Your little fan base that loves you playing in those C tiers, I'm sure, are going to go absolute berserk mode. Speaking of playing on non-touring events, Gary, I heard you had some fun times this past weekend.
Yeah. I got to play New London, which I've played before. Ivy Hill for the first time, which I really enjoyed. And when I was at New London, I sat in the longest backup I had ever sat in before. From the moment I approached 18's tee pad to the moment I tapped out, it was an hour and 16 minutes. It's bad.
It was an hour and 16-minute wait?
Yep. So from the moment that I emerged from the woods and saw 18's tee pad to the moment I actually tapped out the par on 18, an hour and 16 minutes.
How long was it from the actual tee, like when you threw your shot, to tapping out? How much was that? Like the actual playing of the hole?
We played really fast.
I would say you waited like 50. You waited like an hour.
Yeah, we waited for forever, and then the course TD came up, and he's like, "Well, there's 4 groups left. We can get it all in tonight, or we can have you guys come back out at 7:00 tomorrow morning." We're like, "We're getting it done tonight," and so I started a rally cry, and we all teed off really fast. And I turned around, and I said, "Well, we do for you, you do for them," and we got it. We got it rolling. Yeah, the average score on 18 was 2.3 strokes over par, and our card was I got a par. And we had 3 bogeys. So we played it faster than probably any card out there.
You sent that into the group chat as I was walking into AT&T Stadium, about to go watch 200-plus Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders dance for an hour. And I was like, that's tough, Gary. That's
one
tough,
thing's
brother.
not like the other.
Yeah, these are two completely different situations going on right now. But if you guys didn't know, the Cowboys do this every year. It's really cool. They have a alumni game where all the previous Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders are invited to come back, and they do a big, huge halftime performance through the decades. So it's based off of like your rookie season. So if your rookie season was 1967, you get like a sweet like Dallas Cowboys like alumni jersey that says like 67 on it. And then they'll bring all the cheerleaders from the 60s out, and they'll do like a little 30-second dance. And then all the 70s. And Kelsey never did it right after, because it's kind of weird like to retire and then immediately do it. Girls normally wait a few years, but then she went on the Raiders. So then she's like, I don't want to be doing the alumni game as I'm still a cheerleader for a different team. So this was her first year doing it. So it was really cool to see her back out there dancing for the Cowboys a little bit. And the Cowboys might be actually decent this year, guys.
They look good.
If they can score 30 plus.
Dak's balling, dude.
Yeah, we'll see. Your Steelers.
We're fine, bro. Don't worry about me.
I'm not worried about it. The Raiders. I love watching Kelsey cheer for the Raiders. I love going to those games. I'm glad I'm not going this year. Dear God, is that team actually cheeks? Oh,
it's
brother.
Really bad.
It's really bad. Okay. So we are going to how this is going to work out tonight, guys. Good show. Thanks for everyone jumping in the live. You're listening to us after the fact. We go live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Jump into the live. Should be a good time. Good crowd tonight. Appreciate you guys. The chat's already going nuts. Awesome to see. We're going to have Calvin on first. Going to kind of talk about, how the tournament went for him, into the season, all that stuff. Because he kind of played, honestly, he kind of played well throughout the entire season.
Typical.
Yeah, typical Calvin. Topping it off, obviously, with the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship finale here. Then we're going to have Gossage come on, and then we have a few other things to discuss at the end, and that is basically how the show is going to happen. So here we go. No spotter interview. No, we're going to try to I need to go into what is it? Not Secret Service. What is it? What is it?
Witness protection. Witness protection.
It might need to go into witness protection after this week. But all right, let's jump into it. I think we have Calvin, the man here himself, 2025 Disc Golf Pro Tour champion, $30,000 richer. And that's my first question, Calvin. Thanks for joining the show as always, brother. What are we doing with the 30K here?
Can I borrow $5?
Do we have, do we have any big plans?
No big plans as of now. I just got home this morning, so I'm just happy to be home and getting ready to kind of just relax for a little bit. Been a long year, out on the road for 8 months. So just happy to be back at home and, probably just going to do a little bit of nothing for a little while.
That's good. Yeah. There's no like crazy travel trips or anything like cool rock trips or anything like that you're trying to do this off season that 30K can go to?
Nothing planned yet, but not saying it won't happen, but nothing planned.
Well, I just got an email from what's that yacht show where you like people go out on those like yachts? I'm cabin under or deck below?
Below deck? Is that the one?
Is it below deck?
Below deck, I think it's below.
Yeah, I just got an email and they're like, "Hey, we would love for you to come on the show. Normally these yacht things for 3 to 5 days cost like $250,000-$300,000, but for being on the show, we'll give you a discount at $80K."
Sounds like a steal.
And we don't cover travel either. And I was like,
"Oh gosh!"
But you're almost halfway there.
Yeah, but they didn't offer me that discount, so like I'm only like I'm nowhere close.
We just have to win the tour championship 10 more times. Okay. The first thing I got to ask, because there were rumors flowing around, and I love the guy. He's one of my favorite people, co-host of this actual show. He was also maybe the head honcho in spreading these rumors. Was there any aggravation going on hole 14's putting green?
I think I was a little involved. I don't know. I did get frustrated. It's not all like directed at Aaron. A lot of it is myself, not just like refocusing. There was a lot that went down on that hole. And it was just a lot to take in as a player. Even at none of it was really happening to me, just being a part of it. There was a lot going on, a lot of rules stuff going on, and then just a lot of commotion. And there was definitely some frustration towards myself there once I missed that putt because I don't know. It was just there was a lot happening, and it took a while for me to actually get to eventually throw my shot again. And I did not feel like it wasn't like I was on the golf course like normal because there was just a lot happening out there.
So was there a moment of where you felt like you were going through your normal putting routine and there was commotion still happening that caused you to get you out? Because it was hard to pick. We could initially pick up on the hot mic something, but then the hot mic kind of went away. And so I couldn't tell if the commotion went away or the hot mic went away. When was that kind of happening?
You know, I don't know.
Is it tough
I
to
don't
remember,
think there was anything terrible going on when I was putting. Like I don't I just think there was a lot of buildup before, and I don't think there was like any yelling or anything happening when I was putting or anything. So I don't think there's anything that went wrong there. I just think there was a lot of bickering, or I don't know. There was a lot of discussion going on before. It was a lot of loud. There's just a lot happening.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, it's truly like completely honest to be frustrated, because I've been in that. No one likes to play with someone that is like having that kind of breakdown outwardly. I think we've all been there before. Yeah. I think with Goose, obviously, it's like it happened starting kind of at hole 14. We've all played with players that's like it starts as soon as the first bad thing happens, and then you're just like, okay, we're just gonna have to deal with this the entire round. And I don't think anyone enjoys playing with that person. But yeah, I guess Joey went on staggered stance last night, and I guess he was kind of making it seem like it was a much bigger deal than maybe what it actually was for you at the end of the day. It was something that you kind of just passed on by and on to the next hole type of thing.
No, I mean, I was frustrated. But I mean, it's not all like, I'm not just like frustrated at Aaron. I'm frustrated at myself for just not like being better and recentering myself. Like I was definitely frustrated after hole 14, but it's like, it's not like I'm frustrated just at Aaron. There's a lot that happened to him, and I just let that bleed over into my game. And that when I feel like I just don't put my best out there, it's frustrating to myself. So I don't know. I definitely just got frustrated there, and but I kind of used it to drive me moving forward.
I kind of used that, I think, as an underselling of it, because there's two ways of going about it, right? There's one way of where you missed that putt where you could have definitely gained some momentum and put yourself in a better chance to win. Let's just say, had Aaron played better the next two holes, it would have been really hard for you to win by not making that putt. You go out there and you just throw an absolute smash. For those that have never played hole 15, to get your disc to land where Calvin's disc is incredibly difficult. Yuli, when you played Worlds, were you even getting like to the bottom of that hill that Calvin was getting up to?
But I did play one practice round out there, and
that's right, you didn't play that. You're injured. I keep forgetting you didn't play this course.
My disc ended up left out of bounds, short of the first like traditional driving tee, and then my second correction went completely right into the weeds. so to land where Calvin landed is an incredible shot, and I would say there's probably 20 guys on the planet that could do that, and probably less than that that can do it, when it matters. So the shot was incredible for sure.
Can you walk me through too, Calvin? Because I think sometimes with the camera angles and just the way that some of the courses are laid out, it's very hard for fans watching that have not actually played the course to really truly understand the difficulty of certain shots. And then when you kind of just step up there and execute it, it just makes us all feel like, oh, that was a pretty standard shot. Can you walk us through how difficult that second shot is on that hole where you're having?
Walk us through the first one too. How hard is it to get up there?
That drive,
Are you throwing like a 9 or 8 out of 10 drive, or is that like a 10 out of 10? What you're capable of?
I think that's like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
like it's like, it's bordering on the line of like you try much harder and you're not quite sure where it's going to start going. Yeah. I'm throwing it about as hard as I can while knowing kind of still where it's going.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of elevation. Like I don't know what the actual distance is, but it's a lot of vertical elevation. And then if you it's like the first day I played the hole, I made it all the way up to the flat and I had flat footing, but like the final round, I made it just to like the edge of where the hill was meeting the flat. So I didn't really have a good run up. So it wasn't even, I don't know. It went far, but I probably might have been in a better spot if I had thrown it to the bottom of that hill as opposed to right there on the slope.
Yeah, because that's a shot that we don't really ever practice. You don't really practice that 4-step up a 15,
Yeah.
20-degree incline.
Calvin's just in Florida, just ripping shots on like a 3-step super hill. He's like, there's gonna be a time one day.
Yeah.
You get the treadmill and he just puts it at the maximum velocity. He's just doing his little X step on the treadmill. Yeah, I mean, are you when it's that elevated, are you just kind of ripping it and just hoping it gets through all those trees? Is that kind of because the distance there is like the most important thing to just give yourself even a chance to get up there for an eagle look, right?
Yeah, I guess my approach on that hole is so it's like there's like the first set of trees where like the FPO basket is, and then there's a path, and then there's like the next trees, and I'm trying to get to the right side of that next set of trees, so I don't have to challenge any of those because all those trees are a potential OB kick. So I'm trying to basically get right really quick and then just climb the hill. Which, yeah, I mean, I was throwing fairway driver on that shot. I probably could have clubbed up there the final day with the bad footing, but the day before I threw a fairway and got to circle 1, so I kind of just stuck with that and just decided to throw it hard, and it ended up down in deep circle 2, and I gave myself a look that I was able to convert.
Crazy good putt, because that putt's really scary too. It's hard to tell by the camera, but you hit band, you hit cage, you hit pole at the bottom. It's a coin flip on whether that thing is going to literally go all. We've seen putts go all the way to the very bottom of that hill, which is kind of a tough up and down as well. Okay, so you make the great eagle there. Now all of a sudden, Isaac, Goose, birdie that hole. So pretty much it's like a 3-man race here. Going into hole 16, because 16 is a really tough birdie. At the time of playing the hole, no one had birdied it. 17, we know what we're getting into there. That can be a 2-stroke swing. And then 18 also is a really tough birdie to get as well. What made you decide was that going to be your play no matter what on 16 of, hey, I'm just going to throw the farthest shot this hole has ever seen?
Yeah, I think really what it comes down to is I was trailing 2 people. I think for me, I was only 1 back at that point, but I don't know. I mean, when you lay up, I mean, as you saw with other people playing it, it's not like the easiest par in the world. You lay up and you have to throw a shot, and then you still have to get into the green. And I just kind of felt like trailing 2 people with 3 to go, I kind of had to push the issue because I can't just count on both of them faltering to give me strokes back.
Do you like how that hole is set up with the kind of like you were just saying, there's no real easy way to just, hey, I'm going to play this hole for par. We saw that both from Isaac and we saw that from Goose, who were literally playing that hole for par, and neither one executed it. Do you think more course designers can look at that hole with the force carry and say, hey, this is maybe something we need to implement more in our course design to force people to where if you get a birdie, you could actually get 2 strokes on people because the par is not just easy to get when you play for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's honestly, I think the reason the hole played as hard as it did was the wind we had that day. The wind was coming in our face. They actually made the hole a little bit easier from Worlds. I talked to Heinold about it before. They cut the carry down by like 20 feet or so. So like that, the carry was 20 feet.
On which side?
On the far side. So
okay, they brought it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you didn't have to throw quite as far this year. It's actually clear, and I think they were hoping, maybe to get better scoring. We just didn't get, the conditions that were ideal for it. But yeah, I do think that is something that course designers can certainly look at. I don't think like every hole needs to be designed that way. But like I do think it does play very interesting. It does kind of benefit people that throw farther. But I mean, even that hole is kind of funky with the way the fairway bends and then the fairway slopes from the high side on the right to the left. It's like you really have to, when you throw the air shot, get over to the right, or else like as soon as your disc starts fading, it's going to run all the way out of bounds left.
I think it just seems like great because a lot of the big arms, like I caddied for AB, he went out of bounds right Ricky went out of bounds left, so it really baited the big guys into going for it. And with those conditions that you guys had, it was extra spicy. So the layup play actually played really well. I mean, it didn't on the lead card, but it was probably the smartest play, and it gave opportunity for somebody like you, obviously, to push the issue. So it was playing super tough.
And 18 kind of had the same thing too, right? At Northwood, or not Northwood, sorry, New London, with the forced carry kind of right there in the middle of the fairway, where if you don't have the greatest drive, you kind of have to think about, hey, what can I do here? Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, no, I just like how you said, in the post round, that you like to go out on your terms, whether it's win, lose, whatever. It's the way that you choose to play it, and I think that's a great testament to your decision to go for it there in 16, because it was averaging the hardest hole for both the third and fourth round, and the win just made it even worse. So I like that you're willing to look at what other players are doing and say, I don't care what, if they're laying up, they're going for it. I have my game plan, and I'm kind of just sticking to it.
Yeah, and I think that's a value thing for disc golf. I think it's very hard to find courses towards the end of a round where playing it safe makes sense, right? Like playing aggressive a lot of times, and especially Calvin, your situation, you're not going into hole 16 thinking that there's a chance that you're going to have a 3-shot lead going into 18. Like that's the dream, right? Like you're at that point, you're thinking, okay, maybe if I can fight myself back into it. That's what you're thinking, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
for sure.
like,
you're thinking
you
like, if I
gotta
can
go
get a
for it.
birdie here, I can probably, I can get back in it. I can be tied, and then we played 17 and 18 the best we can, and honestly, like if we're like 3-way tie going into that, I would not be surprised if we end up in a 2 or 3-way playoff. Like it's just like it's just like those holes. Like I feel, I don't know, they're both birdieable. I don't feel like 18's that bogeyable. Like
Now, if your drive's in bounds, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean that. Like once you get the tee shot up there, it's like it. I don't know. I guess if you throw it out of bounds right on your second shot, you can. But it seems like a one that you can avoid bogey very, very easily.
Yeah, you can just literally go like sidearm and then hyzer to the bottom of the hill, and then shot up to the green. There's like
that's no basically trouble. How I played it. Coming down the stretch, it was just sidearm, then throw it high and have it fade down the hill, keep out of bounds, out of play, and then just throw it up towards that big tree and fade in front of it, and then you just lay up. Like it's like it's pretty easy to stay in bounds on that one.
By the way, you were the only player in the field to birdie hole 16, which was playing 998 feet, also playing into a slight headwind as well. So pretty impressive stuff there coming down the wire to be the only birdie in clutch time with the position you were in. And then the question on 17, how hard did you clinch those cheeks? Were you clinching those cheeks when the disc was going at that tree? Because that's a coin flip, right?
Yeah, like it's a coin flip for sure. I mean, I feel like it, it's probably 50-50 when you're going out those branches. I don't know. But it was a hole was kind of breezy. I mean, my disc kind of did a weird little dancing thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I got up to that hole and was debating whether or not to lay up or not, but I was like, if I can just stick this, it's over. And honestly, if I don't, like worst case scenario is I'm going into 18 tied, which 15 minutes prior was
the dream scenario
for me. So it's like I don't know. I also had never practiced the layup, so I was like, how dumb would it feel to just like mess up this layup?
you just lay it straight in the water.
Did the backside hay bales on the green give you a lot more confidence with trying to punch one in there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when adding the backside hay,
that was needed.
Kind of allows you to throw a little bit faster of a disc and throw a little firmer. You're not worried about sliding out the back.
That hole seems like it's so close to being good. It's not there yet, but it feels like it's close to being good.
I think it's good. I mean, you have like a 35-foot radius to where you could throw any disc in your bag, and you should be able to like hit it. It's just the tough part was the final day. Like you saw his disc dancing, and that's because of the wind. On a calm day, that's like it should be
I know,
6 out of 10 shots you should be able to hit those hay bales. I feel.
Do you feel like it's wide enough though? Like Calvin? Do you think it's a wide enough at the point of because obviously you came in a little bit right of where you're aiming. Ideally, you're going left and you're not even bringing those branches into play. But do you think for how far away that shot is, do you think that's a wide enough distance to have coming in there?
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. I mean, like, if it's a calm day, like most, I don't know if most, but a lot of pros that are throwing backhand are throwing a putter on it. So, like, it's not like it's playing like super long. And then with the hay bales on the backside, like, they kind of bail you out if you're coming in a little hot. So, I think like the width is pretty fair.
Okay.
Coming in, I don't know. I guess my opinion on that's typically like the shorter a hole is playing, like I feel like the smaller the gap can be and still be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like it because of the area that you can lay up. I mean, so many of these down the stretch holes, 16s and 17s, you kind of have to go for it no matter what. But this does add a chance to play a little bit of chess down the stretch of, do I lay up? Do I do something maybe I haven't practiced? So I think I like this better than most ending stretch island holes.
So something that I think it's always interesting to talk about is trying to figure out like the importance of tournaments. And I think something that the PGA Tour has struggled with is trying to get players bought in on the Disc Golf Tour or the PGA Tour Championship at the end of the season, which is very similar to kind of how the Disc Golf Pro Tour has formatted theirs, of like caring about winning it, whereas it's really just a fat check. And for some players, it's like monumental money, right? Like I think Billy Horschel won it a few years ago, and it was like 20 million or something, and that's a whole lot of money for him. But then Tiger wins it, or Rory wins it, or Scotty wins it. It's kind of just a drop in the bucket for them. Is that kind of similar? Like, what were the feelings of winning this? Because obviously $30K is a huge lump sum of money, but in comparison to how much money you've made this season with, I'm sure, sponsorships and obviously winning a major and everything, like where does this fit in when you like that disc drops in to the basket and you win? Like where does this fit as far as like wins go?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's lesser than the major, and then probably on par with like a DGPT plus or a playoff event maybe, because I kind of view all those the same. Like I think it's kind of right there in that boat. It's just like in the upper tier of Pro Tour events. So I don't know. I guess I've struggled with like what is the Tour Championships identity when I think about it, when I've thought about it in the past and stuff. Like I don't know. It hasn't, like, it has the biggest first place payout of any tournament we play all year, but like it doesn't feel like the biggest tournament or really anywhere close to it when we play it. So
does adjusting the payouts, do you think that will impact it at all? To where it's like, okay, instead of the winner gets 30,000, let's say next year the winner gets 50,000. Is that all of a sudden add a whole because what is a Disc Golf Pro Tour Plus win? Like 15 to 20, roughly in that range, depending.
What's the number? What's the number where all of a sudden coming down the stretch,
wait a second,
like, wow, that layup's looking actually kind of nice. You know what I mean? If we're playing for $500,000.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's all just relative to what the other
everything
tournaments
else
are worth in, but like it's like I do also just I feel like the Pro Tour finale has had so many different formats over such a short period of time that it's just like I feel like you like see like, oh, it's the DGPT finale, and then like someone that's kind of more casual, like they don't, like, you don't even know what the format's going to be by just seeing the title. Like it's like, I don't know, it's just I feel like we need to figure out exactly how we want it to play, and we need to stick to it for a while, and I think maybe time will give it more prestige maybe, but I think currently it's just been like a a mishmash of different formats, and I feel like that's why it just doesn't feel as big as maybe it should.
Do you like the stroke advantage this year? Are you a fan of that format?
I mean, I got a lot of strokes, so I mean that was nice. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to reward players for points, I think that's probably a good way to do it. But I wouldn't even be opposed to just, if you qualify, you qualify, and it's just a straight up, tournament of the best 32 or whatever, 32 men and 20 women or whatever the totals were. I think that's right. But either one of those would work. I just think we need to figure it out and stick to it. But I do also think, like, I don't know. I guess, like, if you don't give the stroke advantages on the points, like, the points become even more meaningless than they kind of already are. Like, it's like once you get into the top 32, like, it's like, I don't know.
What if you gave money prior to the tournament? So what if you had something where coming into the tour championship, you had, Gannon at first, second, third, all the way down, right? And that's where you dished out money of like, hey, this is for the points for the season. Congratulations, you won the points for the season. Here you go. Congratulate, whatever. And then when the tour championship comes, it's like what you said. It's the top 32 people. Everyone's starting at even par. The money is now up for grabs for everyone. And so that way it does, because I agree with you. It makes it meaningless if you don't have anything.
The PGA Tour did that this year. So they tried the strokes as well. And then this year they axed it, and it was just a tournament. So it was playoff events, and people got eliminated as far as points go through the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And then the final event was everybody who made it. It's just you guys all start at 0, and then there you go. But they also tried
money
it the other
out
way.
Before.
I don't think they did. No, it's still the FedEx points.
I think the problem with that is the obvious place for that money to come from would be your finale payout. So then your finale is going to have a lesser payout.
Yeah, it would be, probably the winner gets $20K instead.
I've already come up with the solution, guys. Nobody likes my solution, but I'll pitch it to you, Calvin.
All right.
Okay.
There we go.
I say we get rid of the World Championships. We just make another major, okay? We make the tour finale points to where whoever tours the entire season, whoever wins the point series in general, is the world champion. And then you have the finale. You have 4 majors, all of them equal. Now you don't have just the worlds. It's like the super tournament. And then now all majors are prestigious, and we don't have one that is just like this super glorified one that everybody would trade in, 2-3 majors for. What do you think?
Yeah. That's an interesting take. I feel like
a nice way of saying I hate it.
No,
I don't think people hate it.
No. I don't think so. There are some parts of it that I kind of agree with. Like, I do think our sport's weird because it's like I feel like normally when you look at sports, you either have they're either a sport where like there's the world championships or there's some championship and it's just like one thing that matters, or you're a sport where there's majors and they have 4 of them. Like, that seems to be the breakdown. It's either like there is this one top there's nothing that has like both of those. Like, currently we're like trying to do both, and it is kind of weird. Like, you have 4 majors, but one of them is the World Championships, so it's obviously worth more because it's called the World Championships. And
the only one that
really quite makes sense if you're going to denote them all as the same thing. So like, I get what Yuli's saying there, but then like it's weird because it's like, now that you've had whatever
a lot of rich tradition,
years of history or whatever, like how do you like eliminate the World Championships? And like,
you make it the points, and now everybody, and now it's a season-long race for the World Championship.
But like,
and it's even more prestigious because you have to play all the tournaments around the world. I don't know.
I mean, wouldn't that just probably end up being like the same as the world number 1, if you had like a solid ranking system?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I don't know. It is.
The
I
only-
do think it is weird. We have one major that we all value kind of more. It's like I feel like Worlds is here, then like right below it's US, and then you have whatever other majors at the time
they come up with.
They're down there, and then like you have Pro Tour events.
But in time, you can quote me on this in 20 years, people aren't going to know the difference. Eventually, there's going to be the world. If it keeps going the way that it is, it's going to be world titles. How many world titles do you have? That's how you're announced. And then there's going to be majors, and the other majors are going to be US, whatever. How many majors have you won? And it's all going to be bulked into one thing. Like on the PGA, they announce you as how many majors do you have? Not, okay, he's won 2 Masters, he's won 3 US Opens, blah, 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 down the road. So time kind of does fix it all. But while you're living in it, you know, I've always thought it was hilarious that we even had majors, like just have tournaments, and then we have the world championships, like you're saying.
Yeah,
otherwise,
I think it's like
they can do it that way too.
You kind of, I think generally like you choose one or the other. It's like you have the major format or you have the world championship, and having both doesn't quite make sense.
The the only thing I can think of that has like this weird, wait, there's 2 events this year that matter a lot is when the Olympics are involved. So for like track and field, they have the world championships every year. That's the big thing. But on years that the Olympics fall on, you have the world championships and the Olympics.
And nobody cares about the world championships.
They still do because
not like the Olympics.
But like the Olympics come after, I believe. So it's like if you win the Olympics, then it's kind of.
How many world championships would a track runner trade for a gold medal?
Oh,
see?
Probably 2 or 3. Yeah, probably. Yeah. You're right. I mean, and the reason, and that's Calvin, that's what I think, which would be incredible, is what if since we don't have the Olympics, we don't have anything like that in disc golf. I know they did some sort of world games or whatever they did out there this year, but like, what if you did something like that of where you just had the world championship be the final event of the season and that was the end all be all? Or you make your own Olympics, right? Where you have an event that happens every so often. It doesn't happen every year. Because I think that's the other way of making something feel way more prestigious, is something that's not easily attainable of where it's happening all the time, right? The reason why the reason why a major is more important to winning than a Pro Tour event is you have so many more chances at Pro Tour events versus a major. So it's harder. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, the beautiful thing is they're willing to change it every year, it seems.
They're going to change it next year.
That's right.
Let's get back to the action though. So
yes,
we ended on 18. So you play it for par. We now know how you feel about it. But what an end to the season. I mean, you get your major championship, right?
Yeah.
Which you've been chasing forever. And then the icing on the cake is a nice check and the Pro Tour championships. Where do you go from here? So like, what is like next year going to look like for Calvin?
You know, only time will tell, but hopefully chase down another major. You know, you get one, you know, the next step is you want another one.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, you want another one. So it's just, I think
we're going to see him on some inclines, just practicing.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to be practicing in the stairwells, you know, in Florida. The biggest hills I can find.
Calvin, what motivates you? What's the motivation here? I mean, you've had an incredible career already. You had another great season. What's the motivation to put in work this off season? What is it?
I think I'm competitive, and you know, I don't want to like go out there and do something I'm not trying at. So like, you know, if I'm committed to playing disc golf for at least the next 2 years. You know, I'm under contract for 2 more years, so I'm going to go out there and give it my all for at least those 2 years. You know, and I think as soon as I get to a point where like, you know, I don't feel like I can give it my all, like there might be other things in life that I want to be doing, you know, that might be just when I stop playing. So I think, you know, this is, but currently, you know, I'm committed to playing, and the motivation is just I guess it might just be fear of sucking, you know?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So
That's a good one.
to kind of tack onto that, what is like let's just say, for instance, the 2 years is up and you do retire. What do you want to be remembered as? Like you've created this persona of being super calm, cool on the course and insanely consistent through your entire career, right? Is that something that you like? Do you look at yourself and you're like, yeah, that's something I can hang my hat on at the end, is I was like the most consistent golfer. I always had a chance to win. Or do you want to like up that and just win everything and be known as a killer? Or like, what do you want to be remembered as?
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, we're all competitive. I think you want to go out there and win everything. Like that's not necessarily the most like realistic thing. I mean, but yeah, I would love to have even just a year where, you know, I won a ton of events, you know, instead of like 1 or 2, I won like 5 or something, you know, that'd be cool. But yeah, I think like if we're going to look back, like we're 10 years in the future, looking back at Calvin Heimburg's disc golf career, like it's probably just a story of consistency. I don't know. I mean, I feel like since I've come on the road, I've been pretty consistent. You know, I haven't had like the most consistent, flashiest seasons, but like I've been consistent throughout it. You know, I won't say never, but I would say for the most part, I don't have very many like awful events. Like I don't like tank very often. You know, like that was one thing that I felt good about this year. You know, I had like, I think Crocal was my worst event. I took like 20 something place, and then after that, it was like Music City, and I might have been like 13th, and everything else was top 10. So, you know, I feel like one thing I do try to do is when I go out there, I try to play my best, even, you know, when I am out of it to win. You know, it's just still go out there, put on a show, and try to build yourself up for the next week.
Do you like that identity?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. Like, I mean, I think like when you go back and you look at any sport, like you would obviously want to be remembered as like the killer, you know, but like, I don't think like that is, I don't think there's been any point in my career where that's been me. So like, I don't see anyone ever looking back at me. I
mean, they will after this last weekend.
I was gonna say, well, you can change that. That's what you can work on this off season. Is just you're like taunting, you know, making a circle 2 putt and just turning and looking at someone like this as you walk.
Yeah,
just pointing at people, thumbs down at them.
Oh my word.
He does that though. See, here's what's crazy about Calvin is if you play like a side game or a exhibition match, like he's like that. You know, like
he's the worst. He's honestly the worst.
He's known for like bringing his best stuff and his trash talk and everything to it. So we could, I don't know. Brody's got a point.
You honestly, Calvin honestly might be the biggest change between like the exhibition match, the worst shot triples, and then actually playing for like things that matter.
Yeah.
Because like when it matters, you're like super respectful. You're never going to do anything that's going to cause other people around you to play poorly. And then it's like, oh, this doesn't matter. I'm going to make your life a living hell.
The 30-second timer on Nico and the Skins match is probably one of the greatest moments for disc golf ever.
The one thing I do, what you were kind of talking about a little bit, Calvin, is I think that's the thing I respect about you the most is you are never out of it. And even when you decide, okay, I'm not going to be able to get 7 strokes in these next 3 holes, you still play to the very, very end. And I think that's something so hard. That's something that I never was able to. That's something that I always struggle with disc golf is you lose way more than you win.
Yeah.
And like people don't really care. And if you're a competitive person, you don't really care if you got 3rd or 4th or 5th or a top 10. Like you want to win. And gosh, I came from sports where it's like you could lose 3 games in a row, and then you win that next game. And you're like, yes, baby, let's go. And in disc golf, it's not like that. It's like you could have one good round, but it's like, brother, I got fit. This sucks. So that's something that I think is so hard. I clearly am not very good at it. And I think it's something that you're very, very good at, of where you're just, and hence why you're so freaking consistent, is like you never give up on yourself and you always battle to the very end, which is really fun to watch, because it's always sometimes too, we're like, wait, Calvin's on third card and he's what, 10 under through 11? He's like, he's going to win this thing. And you did it again this past week. I don't think, you drop everyone on hole 14. I don't think anyone thinks that you're going to win that thing, or at least your percentage of winning that thing is definitely not the favorite.
Yeah, it's certainly low. It's very low.
Are there any things you're going to be working on this offseason? Any things in your game that you felt?
How's the injury? That's something that everybody kind of forgot about, is like big time. Well, when you were struggling, it was because you weren't throwing any sidearms. And then as this season
top 25 sidearm,
we see it, redevelop.
Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of a work in progress, but I'm definitely, I've been slowly getting it back. I can definitely throw it, probably about as far as I could before I heard it. So it's just not necessarily as accurate as it was. So it's just rehoning in those skills. But I'm doing well. And it's nice being able to throw forehand and backhand again. It's makes the game a whole lot easier. But
the off season,
this off season, I think just working on that. I think hitting the putting green still. I don't know. I still have my moments on and off on the putting green, and I would love to figure that out to get a little bit more consistent out there, because I do give myself quite a few looks, and it would be nice to just capitalize on more of them.
All right, well, Calvin, we're going to let you go because we know you have a massive tournament coming up that you need to get ready for. But before we let you go, you're playing the match play event, right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
In November. But
matched up against Heimburg. Do you have any words for the man?
That's in November?
Yeah, it's like November 7th, 8th, 9th.
All right, well, good luck not forgetting about that. What do we have? Do we have any new? That'd be tough for me not to forget about. Do you have any new pet peeves? Anything after the end of this season that you're like, okay, wait a second, I got to add this to my list.
Pet peeves. I should have prepped for this. I feel like I'm being put on the spot, and I'm absolutely blanking.
Well, here, I'll give you a question from Ron. Let me change it up. Ron wants to know: is it true Zach wasn't on the bag because you didn't want to hear him whine about all the hills? I'll let you. I'll let you off the boat with that one.
He complained about walking up some hills at New London, and I sent him home. Like I said, we're done. I don't care that I shot 9 under out here. You're off the bag. I can't listen to this. No, not at all. Not at all. He just had to go home. I always love having Melton on the bag. He's one of my closest friends, and he knows my game probably just about as good as I do. So it's really good to have someone like that on your bag when you can be a little unsure of a decision, and you can bounce ideas off of them, and they can actually give you an educated response.
Yuli, Gary, you got anything else for Calvin here before we let him go?
No, just congratulations, man. What a season, and have fun.
Full rock, man. All right.
Absolutely.
Don't put all 30,000 into the S&P 500. Take a little bit out and buy a nice cool rock or something.
I'm not into like buying rocks, but I'll take a trip somewhere and find a cool rock.
Take the yacht to an island and then go rock hunting.
Yeah, yacht to an island and then get some rock hunting going on. So, all right. Well, congratulations, Calvin, on another incredible season. Way to top it off with the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship right in Lynchburg, Virginia. Hopefully you enjoyed. Did you go to La Coretta?
I didn't. No La Coretta for me.
All right. Well, I mean, there's going to be 2 stops there next year, so you got to do it one time. So Appreciate you, brother. Give you a little time right now. Shout out to sponsors. Thank the peeps, whoever you want. Floor is yours.
Yeah, just thanks everyone for supporting me all year, and shout out to my sponsors, Innova Squatch, Millennium, and Flight Factory. But yeah, thanks to everyone who tunes in for all the content, and kind of makes it possible for all of us to be out here.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, brother. Always fun to have you on.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, take it easy. There you have it, folks. Calvin, always a fun interview. I respect that. Doesn't buy rocks, only digs
Finds
them up by hand.
That's right.
I had a sick rock collection as a kid. All right, let's bring him on here. Goose Man, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Aaron Gossage joining us. First, I got to say, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us. I know there's probably a handful of people that would probably not want to talk about what happened this past week, but there's a lot to discuss, and I feel like watching it, I have a lot of questions, and I think we should just jump into it. First and foremost, great performance. That was fun to watch. In a format like that, where you're coming in, how many strokes did you start with? Were you at 5? Or
I was at 3, so I was 5 back from Gannon.
You're 5 back. Coming in, it's incredible to even put yourself in a position to possibly win the thing at the end. So congratulations on that. And let's just jump into it, shall we? Should we just go straight into it? We're getting to hole 14. It starts raining, and we get what on the tee pad? What happened initially on the tee pad there?
Hey, I got to start off with something real quick. First thing
Yes.
is, any gripe that I have with anybody is not with anybody on my card. Ezra Robinson, Isaac Robinson, and Calvin Heimburg did nothing wrong during the entire round. I have no problems with any of their actions, anything whatsoever. On top of that, Calvin Heimburg played an incredible last few holes. 2 great shots, 14, eagle 15, amazing 16, amazing 17. Probably would have birdied 18. And I think that if everything had gone the way that I would have liked to have seen it gone down the stretch there at the end, I probably still would have lost. So I'm just throwing that out there. And that's the first thing I'd like to say. And now I'm ready to get right into it. So,
well, before you say that, did you eat La Coretta? Because you might be one up over Calvin if you had La Coretta.
I don't know what that means.
Oh.
Oh, okay. All right. It's the greatest Mexican restaurant in the world.
Oh, okay.
Well, it just sucks that I'm not good at disc golf, or I would have taken you there if I was up there for the tour championship. All right.
Yeah, next time, man.
Probably not. Let's go into hole 4. Let's go into hole 14. So talk us through it.
Cool. I just came off a nice putt for birdie on 13, so I was feeling really good. Got to the tee pad. It's starting to rain. I step up there. My game plan is just to throw it really hard, make sure it's a little bit turned over, try to play it into that right hillside, give myself something inside 350 up to the basket. I test out my footing, but since there is this new set of water on there, I do slip on the tee pad, and it comes out a touch nose up, a touch softer than I meant to, and hyzer's out left out of bounds. So not the ideal situation for that, but I don't think there's anything I could really do differently in that situation. It's just tough, and got to live with it. After that happens, let me see if I can do everything in order, the way that it all happens. Everybody throws their tee shots. Isaac throws his up shot up the fairway, laying up. Calvin throws his shot and lands it on the island, and then it's my turn to throw. From this point, I'm going to throw my nuke that I just threw off the tee on my next shot. So I go up there and I grab my nuke and I start drying it off. I go to where the flag is, that is where I went out of bounds. And I know in my head that I'm not going to play from there. I'm going to take it back in line of play. So the easiest thing I can do is take my meter in so that I have exactly where that meter is exactly, so I can find that line of play. So I set my mini down, and at this point I have to make a decision. So I range find it. I'm about 330 out, I think, there. So I say to myself, yep, I think the correct decision is to go for it. I'm going to take this about 15 feet back so I have pretty good footing. 350 shot up to that island green, very repeatable. I just have to make sure to go left. I go back to the lie. I'm like, hey guys, is this cool with you guys? And this is the first big mistake I make, and it's kind of an unfortunate mistake. But I set my mini down right there. I'm like, are you guys good with this lie? And I set my mini down.
The first time, you're saying?
This is the second time. This is after I go back in line of play.
Okay.
and I set my mini down 15 feet back from that spot. But I left my bag sitting up at the first
Yeah.
lie. Okay. So what I should have done instead is I should have grabbed my bag, walked it back to where I was before setting down my mini. Okay. So I set down my mini. I walk back because my bag is now 20 feet in front of my lie, and I can't, feasibly throw a shot with my bag sitting there. So grab my bag, bring it back to my lie, and dry it off. I think that from the moment that I addressed my lie, which is when my foot was behind the disc and to when the disc came out of my hands, was roughly 36 seconds. But it was roughly, I don't know, a minute, 55 seconds since I put the mini down. Okay. So just to throw that out there, I throw the shot. It looks great. I'm really happy with the shot. Drops out of the sky and hits just like the very top of the wall. I missed it by maybe 6 inches. 6 inches higher. That disc's on the island green. Disappointing moment. You can see my frustration. I'm like, gosh, dang it. What are you doing? Yada yada yada. Then the marshal comes up and says, "Hey, I've got to give you a time violation. You took over a minute on that shot, and so I've got to give you a warning for that." And I think at the moment I just say, okay. At this point, I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen next. So we wait, and Ezra throws his shot right after that. He does a very similar thing. He lands out of bounds, skips up, hits the wall, stays out of bounds. So I'm like, okay, Ezra and I are going to have to go up the fairway and throw our next shots. So as I'm walking up the fairway, you can see me talking to the marshal, and what I say to him is, "How long did I take on that shot?" And he says, "From the moment you put your mini down, it took you about a minute to throw your shot." And I say, okay. So I get to my next lie, and I'm like, getting ready to throw the up shot up the hill. And I look up the fairway, and Calvin and Isaac are all the way up at Isaac's lie, down the fairway. And I go, "Hey guys, hey, I still have to throw my up shot. I didn't cross in bounds. I hit the wall, so I've got to throw from here." And Calvin says, "Oh no, man, you hit the wall, and the OB line's on the right side of the wall, so you're good. You're playing from the drop zone." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." Marshall's on the card are like, "Yep, drop zone's good. Everybody saw it hit the wall. We're good to go." Isaac throws his shot up to the island green, and then I start trudging up the hill to the drop zone putt. When I get to the drop zone putt, I think I get my putter out. I'm starting to think about this. I'm like, okay, double bogey's probably what's going to happen here, but I still have a 50-footer or whatnot for bogey. Still in this, still can make this happen. At this point, the spotter says, "Hey, Ezra's crossed in bounds and hit the wall, but Gooseman's never touched anything. It was out of bounds the whole way, never crossed in bounds." And I think that I say two things to him. I'm like, "Oh, my disc never hit the wall," and he says, "No, it never hit the wall." And I'm like, "Okay," and there was no chance that it ever crossed and touched the line. And he says, "Nope, didn't see it do that at all. So you're gonna have to go back down to the fairway." And I just want to point that out. That was the only conversation I ever had with any volunteer or any spotter the entire round. So at that point, I'm frustrated. This is when I lose my shit. It's the point at which I had already, said, "I'm going to throw from down there." They're like, "No, you're good." I hike all the way up the hill. I'm ready to throw my shot. I get this, incorrect ruling because we all saw it hit the wall. And now I have to walk back down to the fairway. And there's this thing where everybody on my card saw it hit the wall, and that's the decision we would have gone with as a group. But the spotter was 10 feet away and somehow missed that my disc hit the wall. I am, 98% positive that it did hit the wall, and it's frustrating that I get that tough ruling. So now I walk back down to the fairway and have to place my lie down there at the bottom of the hill and figure it out. To throw the second thing at you, if you're talking about when a player addresses their lie, I've got to point out that technically I did address my lie 5 minutes ago. I got to my lie and said, "Hey guys, this is where I need to throw my shot from." So I'm at my lie, ready to throw, yada yada yada. Then we do all this other stuff, and I get back down to my lie. So it's another one of those questions of when does your time actually start? The rules say addressing your lie. Is that when you put your mini down? Fortunately,
PGA made that really specific now that we all should know exactly when that is.
For
They
next year.
changed. Sure.
Oh, right. Next year.
It's still very ambiguous. Of when
Okay,
yes.
it's way better though. They're trying to do this. They're changing 3 rules for next year. All 3 of these rules would have helped out in this situation, and
For
it's a great
sure.
example why the current rules are not the best way of doing things. So I go back down to my lie, and at this point, I basically just thrown 2 shots, and I've taken 4 bad breaks, in my opinion. I got the slip off the tee. I got the time violation, which I don't know necessarily if it's the correct call or not. Got the drop out of the sky to hit the wall, and then I got the tough ruling on not being able to go to the drop zone. So I'm throwing my 3rd shot on the hole from down on the fairway, and just super frustrated. I look at it for a minute, and then I'm like, man, I do have to rush this shot. You know, if I take more than my time now, I'm going to get called. Throw my shot up the fairway to about 40 feet, something like that, and we trudge up the way to the hole. At this point, I'm standing at the bottom of the hill. Okay, I have to walk all the way up the hill because I'm the next person to putt because everybody else is closer. And as soon as I get to my lie, I can't, take any time to catch my breath. I can't do anything like that. Step up to lie again, another one where I'm like right at 28, 30 seconds when I'm putting, miss it like an inch low. And this is the other one I got a lot of flack for. I think on the commentary, they're all like, you can't putt out of turn in this situation. This is a ridiculous thing. So I went up and tapped out my putt, and I would do that on any card at any time, just because it's pace of play. I didn't take away from anyone else's time, gets me out of the way, and then they can have their time. I walk down the hill, and another one. They say that I'm talking, while Calvin's putting. I think I said something to Jeff while I was walking down the hill. As soon as Calvin approached this lie, I was silent. Let him putt. He missed the putts, and then we went on to hole 15. So from my perspective, that's what happened on hole 14. Tough situation. Not the best way for me to handle it, all things considered. It's not my proudest moments, but it's also like I didn't expect this. I didn't expect to get these 4 bad things going all at the same time. Really in a tough situation. And then the last thing I'd like to point out there is I've heard a lot of people talk about lead cards shouldn't get any kind of preferential treatment just because they're lead card in tough situations and stuff like that. And to those people, I will say I agree with you. It's weird that a lead card should get preferential treatment in situations like this. But to also put this in perspective, if I was on 4th card, okay, and we had no officials, we had no spotters, we had nothing, what would have happened on that hole is I would have thrown my shot, I would have hit the wall, everybody on the card would have seen me hit the wall, and I would have gone to the drop zone, and nobody would have called me on a time violation because they would have known that that's not really the situation to do it. Nobody likes calling time violations, and they all understand that I'm taking extra time there because of how difficult the situation is. So if I wasn't on a lead card, I wouldn't have gotten called for the time violation, and I would have gotten to take the putt from the drop zone because that's what everybody saw.
All right. Thank you for giving that full recap. I do have a lot of questions that I want to break down here. So
Certainly.
the first one I have, and just to confirm what you said, you're claiming that you actually did, like when you threw that shot, you thought it hit the rock.
Yes.
Like you had a visual on it hitting the rock. So I'm going to bring up 2 photos here. So the first one is from Jomez, which I think is the same footage they use for the Disc Golf Network, which is kind of crazy. We get the drone footage, like we get the drone footage 10,000 times when we don't want the drone footage, and the one time we want the drone footage, they got no drone footage.
Right.
But from here, this is a screenshot of the disc touching the rock.
Several problems here.
Right there. Now, you could say, well, Brody, the rope is on the right side of the rock. So there could be a chance that rock, when it hit the rock, it wasn't in bounds, right? So now let's go to second photo. Second photo is showing where the rock is compared to where the rope is. And I don't see any, because the rock you hit is that big discolored one that's in between Calvin and the spotter. That's the rock that you hit. I don't see anywhere on there that you could potentially hit that rock and not have it cross the line. Right? So that's the first thing is you said it hit the rock. Nate Perkins said it hit the rock. That was the first thing we got because they actually, on live coverage, I don't know if you watch live coverage back or not, Goose, they cut to the catch cam. so we actually didn't get to see where it landed. It was blocked, but all you heard was, "Oh, he hits the rock,"
Right.
from Nate Perkins.
Let me just throw out there real quick. The one thing I do want to say about the spotter is he was standing 10 feet away from the spot, but they cut to a Jomez perspective at one point that is pretty much the same perspective as the spotter. And it is actually the worst perspective on seeing whether it crosses the rock or not. He's on the other side, it's low, and it's in a situation where it's really hard for the spotter to see. So you should cut him some slack there for that. My only issue is, this is the last thing, sorry, I forgot to mention the whole thing. He is a certified official, and
Yes.
he gets to make the say no matter what. So even if we see it, whatever he says goes. And we don't get to make a group ruling at all.
Gary, you were on the ground and you said that you went to where the spotter actually was standing when he made the call. What would you see from that spot?
Yeah, so because I was there and I played a day or so before this, there's no way with the way that it rounds, with the perspective, especially with the last picture, that you can truly see where a disc lands. And I think it's a really odd green to like expect one guy, especially on a rainy day with this slope, to be able to get in a position to see everything. I mean, it's a hard thing to be able to do. So I don't know how he could have ever seen this properly. And I know Hunter brought up on Grip Lock that he had talked to 25 plus people who all unanimously agreed that it hit the rock. And a lot of people heard it hit the rock. And say what you will, the man is wearing an AirPod in one of his ears. So maybe he didn't hear it hit the rock. It seemed like a very, very obvious thing. And this should have been a card call, but it is also difficult because a lot of members of the card are kind of far away. So it's a tough situation, but it hit the rock. We all know it hit the rock.
I slowed it down and went through like the slow-mo and like tried to click it at one point to see like if you could see the reaction of the thing. And I will say there is a poof of dirt that comes up. You can, if you slow it down, you can see dirt kind of poof up when it hits the exact spot. If it hits, so I think if it hit the rock, it bounced into the rock and then came out, because you do see dirt fly up, and rocks don't do that.
Right. I think it went the other way from what I remember. I think it hit the rock and then hit the dirt. Yeah, I think it was pretty close. You know, that it didn't hit like the very top of the rock, but I was pretty sure that it hit rock and then dirt and then went right.
Was there ever a conversation? Because like there's so many times where things are super close and they go bring the camera over and they show you where things were. Did anyone go over and like look at the ground where that was to see if there was any noticeable like divot or dirt misplaced? I mean, it was rainy, so you should be able to see the ground kind of disheveled there.
Once again, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever the spotter saw, whatever the spotter says goes. So I mean, even if the whole card thinks that's the decision that should be made, that I should have crossed there, it doesn't matter, because he is a certified official. That is the only say that goes.
So the other thing, Yuli, that I'll kind of push back a little bit on. Are you saying, Yuli, that you thought it hit the rock or you thought it didn't hit the rock?
I wasn't there, but if you slow-mo,
watching it,
I have no clue. I think it's insanely close. My perspective, if I have no say in the matter and I'm watching the film and you're telling me there's a guy that's 10 feet away, and then if you watch the film and you slow-mo it down and catch it directly to what I see as that impact, I see dirt fly up. But that could be underneath the string. You get what I mean? Like it.
Yeah.
There
were some areas where the string was an inch off.
Mike, pull up the Jomez footage of this too, because what I want everyone to watch Aaron's shot and Ezra's shot, because Ezra throws right after Aaron, and they're very similar shots. They're hyzer backhands coming into that hill. Aaron's hits and immediately goes the opposite direction. Ezra's hits and skips up. And that's my thought, is like when you throw a backhand hyzer into a hill like that, the only way it hits and goes in the opposite direction is if it hits something heavy. If it's like hitting, if it's hitting it could hit a big tuft of grass of where it hits and bounces this way. And that photo of where that rock is, there is nothing on the ground that is going to force that disc in the opposite direction other than the rock. And so that's where if you watch Ezra's skip up the hill and then you watch Goose's, it's clearly a hit the rock. And now the other thing that Gary said too, pretty much everyone on the grounds there, Yuli, by that hole, Nate Perkins as well, very clearly says it hits the rock. Everyone thought it hit the rock. There wasn't even a question of, I don't know, it's a toss-up.
Of
Everyone
course. So
thought
devil's advocate is this perspective. Is
oh, here we go.
So
you can keep talking though. You can keep talking Yuli, while he plays this through.
Is this? There's nobody up there but the spotter.
Yeah.
Everybody's down the hill. And unfortunately with this, I tried to screenshot it to like zoom in and they don't let you screenshot anything. So it's just like
you gotta go on Jomez,
the worst. Yeah, this is Jomez. You might be able to screenshot. But if you watch right here, you'll at impact, from what I see, you can see dirt fly up. Like right at impact. If you zoom in,
I mean that disc is also folding.
I mean, that's what happens when, yeah. I mean, the way it reacted, it hit something hard, obviously. But you can you see right there, like there's dirt that flies up. Like as it comes backwards, you can see dirt, actual dirt fly up.
Feels like a half and half, like it hit the spot
very,
right at the base.
Yeah. It could like hit the perfect, right, like the corner, boom.
Now
to where it hits rock and
yeah, I feel like it's not even. I feel like that's not even close. To me, when you do that, it looks like it's literally all rock right there.
So watch at the end though. Watch what happens. If it's all rock, then there should be no dirt. It should just fly out. But watch, if you just keep it going. Oh, we're dead.
Well, we're asking a lot for PGA Mike here. He's not.
Yeah. I will say there's a good chance that it hits rock and then dirt, and with enough force that it makes the dirt fly up.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
love
it definitely does hit dirt at some point.
Yeah. Spotter's not even moving. The dude is just solid as a rock.
He's kind of locked in. He's kind of locked in.
Go to Ezra Robinson's shot. That's very similar. The only difference is it's like 10, 15 feet further down the hill. And just watch the reaction of his shot, which is, again, very similar. Very similar hyzer coming in. Now watch how it reacts to hitting all dirt, no rock. You can just play it through. You don't have to. I mean, that's a
forward skip.
That's a completely different reaction. That thing traveled up the hill because it didn't have a rock that was in its path. I don't know. I mean, I could be crazy. When the fact that Ezra's shot was like right after that, I was just like, it's kind of clear one slammed into something and the other one didn't. But again, I guess there are some people out there that it's doubting hit the rock. Let's move past that of whether or not hit the rock or not, and let's move on to the next.
Well, the facts of the matter are the card thought. Here's in my opinion this year sucks. And I had a big problem with this when the rule changed to where they're like certified official makes the call. And then next year, the player doesn't get any input. And I had a big problem with this too, because we had this on a couple weeks ago where I was like, the thrower's the only one that actually knows where exactly his disc is going. You know, when you shank a shot, pretty much where it's going, what the reaction should be up at the green, and to then make a decision to where that guy has no input is kind of crazy to me. And then of course, in this case, like it's up to a guy to make the decision for the whole entire card, and you can be in a situation where you don't even have an argument.
So let's talk about that. So he is because I think some people were a little bit confused, and initially I was confused. The commentators were kind of confused. I think they implemented this or at least the first tournament I played where they did this was the Green Mountain Championships 3 years ago, I want to say, something like that, where it was the par 3 that we throw up and over the hill, and they added that little Mando. but we could never see the Mando. So they basically made a spotter an official of where you went over the hill and the spotter said, hey, you cleared it or you didn't clear it. And whatever he said you had to do, and that was it. Now we've seen
They
that.
take 2 flags and they dub them. They hit both shoulders.
Now we've seen that moved on to more OBs now. We've seen it now with a couple other holes of where they will say, hey, whatever the spotter says, you have to do. My question to you, Goose, and then Yuli, if you want to jump on after Goose, how are they deciding who this spotter is? Because all these spotters are volunteers. So who gets the honor of actually having what they say matter?
It's a really great question. I've been struggling with this one lately, and I don't know if this is the best way to do it or not. The certified official thing is a step further, but a lot of times, just in general, the spotter's the only person that sees a shot, like when you're throwing a blind shot. So the card kind of has to defer to them anyway. And it's the situation of if they get it right all the time, it's great. But if they get it wrong, then it's not so great. So I don't really know how you combat the situation, but having spotters is good. Sometimes they're not in the perfect spot for, multiple different angles on the shot. You know what I mean? So sometimes a player has a better angle, but it just seems like a really weird situation where I don't know about making it a certified official or something like that, but I think that more players should be using spots for the most part because they're often very correct. It's just a frustrating situation when it's not, and you have no way of dealing with it as a card yourself. Again, this was one where Calvin straight up was like, no, don't play from the fairway. You get to play from the drop zone because you hit the rock wall and for sure crossed in bounds. So my card was in this agreement of, yes, that's the spot that we would put you at as a card group decision, and yet it gets overturned by what the spotter says. So definitely a weird situation, and I don't really know how to feel about this. I think accuracy is kind of the key to this.
Yuli, do you have any intel on how you become a certified
No,
spotter?
I just said I think they hit your shoulders with the.
Oh, I thought you were joking, but okay.
No, I don't know.
They do the game.
I'm with Goose though.
Like,
the fact that you have to have some sort of certification is nice. It's nice if you're going to make somebody dictate, in this case, even a tournament call down the stretch. They better have some sort of experience in the matter,
Yeah, and I think the biggest issue I have with this is when you have referees, when you play a sport and you have officials, they are making tons and tons of calls, and they're making even more no calls throughout the entire event, right? In disc golf, outside of this guy, Goose, how many people had the impact that this guy had throughout your round today?
It's a great question. There was not a single call made by any official the entire tournament that I'm aware of. So, I mean, we're using some of the spotter spots, but at the end of the day, I think that this guy's spots and the officials' rules to give me a time penalty are both just the only two things that happen the entire round.
Yeah, I think that's just where it's amplified, is because in any sporting event with officials, everyone loves talking about the refs right after the game. Bad call, they missed this call, blah 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 blah. But there's so many that it doesn't feel as bad. Where this, it's like we don't really have that many times in our sport where a call can be made, and so when it doesn't work out, it's like, brother, you just went 0 for 1. Like, that sucks. Versus going 19 for 20, it's not as bad. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's why I think a lot of people are kind of more up in arms with this one.
I was gonna ask you, Goose. Let's. I'm gonna go backwards for a second to when you got the time violation.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna ask you to switch people's perspective to where now you're just a guy on the card, because I know that you're a big advocate for time, and then let's put somebody else and they do exactly everything that you do. Would you have called that person on a time violation? Because if you watch on live, and I have to be completely honest, if you're watching on live, it took forever. It took a long time from the point where you grab your disc to you put your disc down to you move back to where I had to go rewatch it because I'm like, there's no way that like this was like an egregious amount of time. And I was surprised with how much time was taken.
Yeah. So if I'm put in the situation of maybe Calvin on this card, to be honest with you, straight up, in Calvin's situation, I'm never calling that. He would never call it. Isaac and Ezra are never calling it. Okay. If I was there and Gannon was taking that time, I'm not calling it in that situation. However, the one thing I will say in response to that is when the official comes and calls it, if I am Calvin, I'd be like, okay, yeah, he probably deserves that. That's what I would say. I'm just saying that as a card mate, I don't
Right,
think
right,
anybody
okay.
is ever making that call.
Sure.
If you haven't watched it yet, I highly suggest you guys go over to the Disc Golf World and watch their video on this. They have it right here. And what they basically did is, Goose, they started a clock for when you first set down your first mini. Then they started a clock when you set down the mini the second time when it was actually the position that you're going to play from. And then they set a clock when you addressed your second mini. And I agree with you. I think you hit the nail on the head. This was probably the most inefficient way of doing it. And
Right, grabbing the bag.
I'm a little bit flustered there, and it's raining, and I don't have a caddy.
For $30,000, you don't have a caddy. Like we shouldn't be triathlons trying to make the fastest transition from swimming to the bike, right? Like this was super inefficient, but at the same time, like you got so much stuff going on, you're not thinking like, oh crap, I need to move this. How many times have we seen people, Yuli and Goose, like when it's raining and your umbrellas flies away and you start getting flustered and then your disc gets wet again? Like, so wait, if you go back real quick, stop it right on so this is what the times end up with when you actually throw.
And see, that's my point there, is that I was banking on the way that the rules are written to me. I felt like I addressed the lie and took that somewhere in that 28, 30-second range. I thought I was in this reasonable time frame. And on top of that, I feel like the only thing I needed to do differently was go grab my bag before setting down my mini. And I don't get that penalty. And I think that's such a ludicrous way of making that call.
Well, okay,
do we
so
know what the rule says?
One more thing.
Okay.
So now take yourself from player and now make yourself the official. How does he not call that as a time violation? Like a certified official, he has only
What's the rule though, Yuli?
He only has a couple. Well, it's up to that guy.
Right.
So it's up,
so if he says it's addressing the lie, then I didn't take that. I took 30 seconds.
Because this is a great question. Goose, when you drop that first mini down a meter inbounds, do you have 30 seconds to then say, wait, I don't actually want to play from here, I'm going to move it back? Do you get does it reset?
Nothing says anything about any of that. So it's all up to the interpretation.
No, I see where you guys are, but okay, so let's say this. Because I think he went over the time limit for sure. If I'm on the card, I'm not calling it either. But if somebody calls time on him, I would have been like, geez, about time. And here, I'm being honest. And here's why. If I have this same shot and let's say that I just take my first lie, but I don't mark it. And I go grab my disc and I dry it off, and then I go range find it, and then I move my bag, and I'm doing all the things like this that people say, okay, he hasn't addressed your lie. I'm taking other people's time at this point, in my opinion, just for the way that the sport and the way I view it should be conducted. Like when somebody does this on my card, I'll say sometimes like, dude, we got to speed it up. Like you can't just like willy-nilly yourself around the thing. Take 4 discs to your thing, pick a thing, and then set your mini down. Like that doesn't count either, because like we're wasting time at this point. We're wasting time. And I'm not saying that this is to my perspective of what the rule should be. Okay. The rule, in my opinion, is to get people through the course. And that's another reason why I would never call this on a lead card, because we're not waiting on anybody. And that's my interpretation of the rule, right? my interpretation of the rule is this was made to keep people going, And I think that a lot of people have the perspective, and they rightly should, of it is so that people only have 30 seconds, because 30 seconds is the perfect amount of time for a person to make a shot and make a mental note of the shot and get into a perfect time frame in order to throw a competitive shot in the toughest of times with all the money on the line, right? That's, for some reason, disc golf came up with 30 seconds and it's perfect. So I don't think that that's what the rule was for. I think the rule was intended to just make sure that we got through the course, okay? We get through the course in a timely manner.
Oh, can I add on to something like that? I think something that's being missed right now, because we have some people, claiming it was just a time warning, nothing really happened.
That is true.
The thing is, though, is now that does change every shot moving forward, because
That's the
now
next
that
one.
that you have a warning, if you go over again,
You're
it's a
worried
stroke.
about it, right?
So that does. People are saying it didn't cost you a stroke. Yeah, but now that's an
It
extra
did on the
thing.
next shot.
That's an
Right.
extra
It
thing
did
for
on
you
the
to have
next
to
shot.
think about.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the, I want to throw that out there too. Moving past hole 14, the upshot on hole 14, I think I took 31 seconds. So technically I could have been called on a violation and given a stroke on that very next shot. And again, if the guys, the marshals are playing by the rules and calling things by the rules, it's ridiculous that they're not calling me on that. You know what I mean? Like, if we're going to call it on, where they deem it necessary, 50 seconds they'll call it, but not 45. We have a time limit, and it's like, when does this actually get called? And then I have no idea. So as a player, I'm like, man, if I'm 25 seconds, do I need to putt, or can I take 30? Am I going to get called on that? So I rushed that shot. And then later, the big one was hole 16. I step up to that lie, super windy, just crazy windy putt. Very important. I have to make this putt in order to stay in contention. I'm lining it up. I get to about 25 seconds, and I'm like, man, I'd like to step off and take another, look at
Wow,
this.
I didn't know that.
I'm not allowed to do that. So instead, I just jab the putt and miss low, and it's a very unprepared putt. But if I take another, 5-10 seconds, I'm getting a penalty, and it's the same thing. So it really does affect the rest of the round. And the thing moving forward is I should have in my head after this moment of like, hey man, you've had all this adversity. Let's battle this. Let's get back in this, get in a good headspace. Try to fight back, play really good disc golf here, despite everything that's going on. Instead, what I had in my head was, hey, take your time. Oh, wait, I can't take my time anymore. Try to get this done as fast as possible. Think quickly, okay, throw the shot before you run out of time. So definitely bad headspace, definitely not the right way to handle that. But it really does get in your head when you've been taking a good amount of time the whole round. You've been trying to be deliberate with all your shots, and all of a sudden that's taken away from you, and you're no longer allowed to play with that speed.
One thing, Brody, real quick. I think the best way to move forward with everything for next year, obviously the rules are going to change or whatever, but before this tournament or any tournament ever starts and there's an official on the card, on hole 1, I think it would be beneficial for them to be like, here's my interpretation of the rules, and this is how I'm going to call it this round. Like, your time starts when your mini hits the ground. That's how I'm calling it this round. And I think that's, at least at that point, there is a interpretation of the rule moving forward to where, like, then Goose, like, during that situation exactly what's going on, because unfortunately it's up to the official's interpretation of the rule.
That's the problem, though, Yuli, is because go ahead, Goose.
Okay, at the beginning of the tournament, he kind of did do this.
There shouldn't be an interpretation now.
There was a marshal on every card, and the marshal before the round said, hey, for this tournament, you're going to have a marshal on every card. The marshal's job is to be there for any disputes that you guys have. He's going to stay out of the way unless you guys ask him to make a ruling, in the play. So that he did say that to us before the tournament. I assumed that would be the way that marshals were treated throughout the tournament. And so going into this hole, I kind of did have the assumption that they were going to stay out of the way and let the players play, and that they wouldn't step in and make these rulings unless somebody asked them to.
Yeah, and Yuli, I actually hate what you just suggested, because walking up, I shouldn't be thinking of, oh, we're doing it differently today, because the other thing that sucks about that is, what are the other cards doing? Goose kind of mentioned this. He's on a card with a marshal.
They don't
If
have
his
those other people don't have officials, Brody. Like
But that's what I'm saying. If I'm playing a football game, we're playing, me and my opponents are playing under the same refs. We're understanding what the refs are calling and not calling.
so
If
you would
you're telling
rather
me
it
that
be up for interpretation than
it
somebody
shouldn't
actually.
be up for
I agree.
interpretation.
I agree. But you
That's
would
the
rather.
thing, is because I'm a ref. Goose is a ref. Gary's a
Of
ref.
course.
We're all refs.
We
We
all
need to be
agree on that.
calling it the same way.
We
There
all
shouldn't be some.
We're agreeing, but what I'm saying, if there's an official on the card, wouldn't you want to know exactly how he's calling the rules, or do you want it to be up for interpretation?
I would love it
I
for him
wanna
to
know
call
if
it
he's
the same way the week before, because that's the rules.
Yeah, I
of
want to know
disc
if he
golf.
was
Of
calling the rules or
course.
if he was not calling the rules.
But that's
If
the
he is
problem with
calling
the rule. It's a horrible rule. It's
Yeah,
not written in a way. Yeah, it's
and
not his
there's-
fault.
Well, there's my next question, Goose. Did anyone else take more than 30 seconds during your round that you thought? You don't have to
So
say their name, but was there anyone else at any point in time, did they take more than 30 seconds during their shots?
let me tell this whole story. I was in a very petty mood, so please give me a little bit of grace there. But we go to the next hole. We go to 15. Okay. Calvin throws an amazing tee shot and he lands in that really weird spot right on the edge of the hill there. And I was like, man, that is a tough lie. And I guarantee you he's going to take more than 30 seconds. So I timed it. Okay. And from the moment he steps up to his lie and marks it, he takes, I think, 44 seconds to throw his shot. And when you watch him do it, what he does is he grabs 2 discs out of the bag. He talks to his caddy for a brief moment. Then he lines up the shot, gets his footing right, and throws the shot. And he does it as quick as you could imagine the shot to be thrown, but it is such a tough, like demanding shot. He didn't look like he was taking extra time. It didn't look like he was being deliberate. Didn't look like anything. It's a very important shot, but he did take 46 seconds. And I mentioned that to the marshal on my card, and he responded to me with, "If you made that call, I would never second you on it." So it's
What we're dealing with. What are we?
It's crazy.
Because did they have
it's a
time,
weird
Goose,
situation to me. Yeah.
when you were throwing your 5th shot, you ended up looking at someone and asking them, how long did you take? Did they have a number of how long they took?
They didn't respond to me the rest of the round. So I honestly, probably for the best. I was hoping for a number. I was hoping they would tell me how long. They said
They
something along the
should.
lines of, "You didn't go overtime. We're not calling you." They said that, but I was like, "How much time did I take?" And then they didn't say anything.
But see, like
So
Yuli, that's my whole thing, is if you take 31 seconds, you have to call that. That is breaking the rules. Because then at that point, then it becomes interpretation. At what point is it too long? It's 40,
I don't know why you're
45,
making
50?
the point to me. I'm saying if he
No,
says
no, but I'm
it
saying
before the round,
that's
that fixes this whole problem.
no, because
Yes. If he says
no,
this
because
is
now
how
not
I'm
everyone's playing under the same rules.
Well, obviously, but I'm saying in this instance, where there is a marshal who is making calls, wouldn't you want to know exactly how he's making the calls?
No, because there's a rule book that I should know. I should know the rules, and he should be calling it off the rule book.
Yeah.
Which is up for interpretation.
what's going on right now is Yuli's talking about how the world works right now, and this would be helpful currently in our current state. And Brody's talking about an ideal situation of where the sport should go. So it's a tough situation, but here's one thing. Next year, there's 3 rules changes. They're changing how you address your lie. They're making that more well-defined. And as soon as I step up and do my rangefinder at the beginning, I'm sure that that's where my time starts. Secondly, you get 45 seconds, I think, from throwing from the fairway instead of the tee or the green. So I would also have a little bit of grace and be able to take 45 seconds for that shot since it is trickier. And third, you get 2 time extensions. So you get 2 extensions and a warning. So I would have taken an extension in that situation, and I would have been able to take plenty of time on my remaining shots because I would still have the buffer, and I know I'm not going to get called for the rest of the round. So the way the rules are written for next year will actually fix this situation moving forward.
I'm gonna hop in here for a second. I usually stay behind the mic or behind the camera, but I see a lot of PDGA slander, Mike slander out in the comments, so I gotta step in. All right, Goose didn't want to say it, so I'm going to. I don't know maybe if he paid attention or not, but I went back to that hole. All 4 players took longer than 30 seconds, at least one shot. So that's the first thing. At least once, some of them more than once. And so looking at the rules also, like if I throw out of bounds and I walk up to where my lie already exists technically, regardless if my mini's down or not, like my lie exists. So if I'm sitting here and I'm talking to my card mates, like, hey, where do you think I went out? Where's my lie? Like you're establishing your lie. And to me, that's no different than Goose looking where his went out, looking where he could take it, and then establishing a new lie. He's now established a new lie, confirming that lie's okay with everybody. And at the very least, that's when it should be starting, not prior to that, because that's not his lie anymore. He has a new lie. He has a different lie. So that's my thought on that. And then my other thing is, like, we've talked about this a little bit before, but I think that because they don't call it every time someone's over 30 seconds, like since they're not calling it every time, there needs to be context. And there's not an official on like we don't allow video replay in disc golf and in a lot of other sports when not everybody has video, right? So
Yeah.
30 cards, well, not this tournament because there weren't 30 cards, but all the cards before it didn't have video, so we can't use video for proof. All the cards prior didn't have an official either. So like in my opinion, and this isn't always a popular opinion, but like I think to have an official make himself part of the game at that point, when there weren't any complaints, maybe Goose can correct me, but there weren't any complaints prior by a player. I could ask Goose how many times he got called on a timing violation. I'm sure it's very few times in his whole career. And so like for an official to step in and now make himself part, you always talk about in like football, like, wow, the refs made themselves a part of the game. Like that's silly. Why did they do that? So like for it to be one shot on an out of bounds in the rain, and like, I don't think if we asked that official, hey, when did the lie start? He didn't really give an answer. And I don't think he'd give the answer that I gave, which I think is the right one. But if we don't know, then how can we be sure? I just think there's too many things to like insert yourself in the situation. Now, if a player would have said it, who, is part of it, they have stake in the game, like then maybe there's a conversation to be had. But to me, like for an official to immediately like insert themselves in this situation, just it seems unnecessary to me. So that's my thoughts on this.
PJ Mike coming in. I'll say this, and we'll move on to the next thing. If you really want to do it right, you should have had a stopwatch out. You should have been starting it and stopping it for every shot. And then no one can say anything. But the fact that we just are willing, kind of like what Yuli was talking about, it's just this interpretation. It makes it very, very difficult. And for those that have never played under a situation where someone is like watching you, it is completely different playing with the thought of I might get called on something and not know versus the people that are playing with no worry of time. That ultimately is what it boils down to. Is some people are able to play with one less thing to worry about. Like, I'm not going to really worry about if I foot fault because it's not going to get called. Do you know how much easier disc golf is if you aren't having to worry about foot faulting? It's so much easier. So that's the whole thing of like, if some people are worrying about it and some people aren't because it's never going to get called, they're playing two different sports. And we're trying to make this thing a fair playing field. So for those that aren't understanding that, they're playing two different sports. And the fact that he didn't have a time on you is crazy. Crazy, man. Okay. I didn't even know that. That really pisses me off, actually. All right. Let's move on. Let's go to hole 15. What was the thoughts on playing that hole conservative there? What was the idea there? Because that kind of caught me off guard.
You're talking the final round?
Yeah, final. Oh, sorry, hole 16. Hole 16. Sorry, not 15. Hole 16.
So here's the thoughts on 16, man. The day before, I tried to go across in the pretty stiff headwind, and today it was twice as much headwind. I knew that the likelihood of me getting that shot in bounds was pretty low. I was going to go roller, but with that much headwind, I don't think it would ever work. So I know that I can throw 3 forehands and play it for par pretty easily. And honestly, I don't throw the first 2 well at all. And I still got a 25-foot putt for par, which is really solid. I mean, I think it was the best on our card for par as well in those conditions. So my thought was just stick with the shots that I know I can accomplish. I did that, and if I make that putt, I am tied with Calvin, and I still have a chance of winning the tournament. So those are my thoughts. And then again, like I just let some of the previous stuff and the frustration get to me. Makes it really tough to make that putt. And after I miss that, it feels like the whole thing's over and nothing else really
For
matters.
that short putt
The little
that
short
came up
putt,
right
yeah.
after it. Okay, so
Um,
you're kind of like mentally checked out going up to
mentally
that
checked
short
out there,
putt.
which again, you're talking to Calvin, and like he doesn't do that. He doesn't mentally check out. He makes his shots down the stretch, even when he's out of contention. And it's probably a lesson I should learn from and really try to work on that. Especially considering I wasn't out of it. There's still some two-stroke swing holes coming up.
Now, the one thing I think is very me and Gary kind of battled back and forth a little bit on this on debate night of where some people will look at what happened to you on hole 14 and think that you like mentally collapsed, right? And that ultimately led to your demise, right? But, and this is where I would love for you to tell me if I'm right or wrong. When I look at that, I think what ultimately happened is it ended up just putting a lot of pressure on the part of your game that is currently your weakest. Because hole 15's tee shot is extremely difficult. You throw a great tee shot on hole 15, you birdie hole 15, then hole 16, you give yourself a birdie putt. You
Par
throw
putt.
par putt.
Yeah.
So you're executing difficult shots. The only thing that faltered was your putting, where someone that like mentally collapses, their whole game, they're spraying their next tee shot. They're trying to throw it so hard and it sprays OB or something, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that a fair assessment of what happened to your game, of where it just put a lot of pressure on the part of your game that right now is the weakest part of your game?
I think mental collapse is a little bit extreme, but it definitely was very mental. I was having troubles with a few of the shots for sure. So it definitely is partially mental. Even going back a little further, the up shot on 14, I was in my mind like, don't leave the short, juiced it a little bit long. I got to do that. And then the putt, I was very happy with how that putt came out of my hands. I had a pretty stiff right to left wind. I thought that it would stay up, and I only missed it an inch low. So to me, I'm really happy for myself being able to throw some solid shots in those
Yeah.
conditions. The biggest thing I would say is it does put a lot of pressure on my putting, but more than that, it was all day I had a really good mental space of, hey, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to wait till I find the shot in my head. I'm going to get that nice release point, and I was really happy with all my putts all day. On 16, my last thought was, if you don't putt this right now, you're going to get a penalty. And so I'm like, okay, just throw it, see what happens. And let go of it early, hits the pole. And, that's not what you want to be thinking, but it's hard not to in that situation because of just like how much time I was taking and, how much wind there was.
Anything like, what are you taking away from this tournament going into next season?
Yeah, so I've thought about this for a lot. Going into this tournament, especially the final round, I was like, man, this is such a nice way to like finish your year. You're playing really good disc golf here. Regardless of what happens, you'll have a really good, momentum going in the off season, feel good about yourself. And then this happens, and I'm like, wow, that's probably like worst case scenario for like mental game going into the off season. Looking back on it, some really good things to take away. My putting felt super solid all week. I was coming out clean, confident. Even on hole 13, I left a touchy upshot short, made a nice putt there. So I was really happy with my putting game all week. On top of that, I shot the best score out of anybody for the entire weekend. So that feels great. I just lost by the starting strokes. So, and then the last thing is these are two really demanding, like off the tee courses, and I played them both super well, tee to green. So I can always just keep that confidence going in my driving. And I think that I'll just be in contention more and more next year because of how far my game has grown this year.
Love it. Yuli, Gary, you got anything else?
Yeah, I was going to say to that last point, does that make you kind of excited for next year when they return to New London for Champs Cup and then come back to Ivy Hill for the Tour Championship? That those are two events that you kind of know you can play really well off the tee compared to a lot of others. Are you excited for those two events next year?
Oh yeah, I'm super excited. I play New London. I think some of my best disc golf. I mean New London and Ivy. Those first 9 holes at both courses. I was playing some of my best disc golf ever. You know, just puring lines, and I know I've got that. So I mean, it's not even just those 2 courses. I feel like I can equate that to pretty much any course. Just throw the shots that I know I'm capable of, and when the putting is feeling good like that, when it's coming out clean, I think that I'll be a weapon next year.
Yeah, I feel like second half of the year you really hit your stride, especially after the Europe trip. Obviously making the final lead card at the World Championships, and then obviously having a good tournament here. Moving into the off season, like what are the things that you're going to be working on to break through next year?
Yeah, definitely. First things first, I'm going to take some time off on my arm. My arm is so sore, it could use a break for a while. Big things I want to really work on. I talked to a bunch of players about how I probably use the least amount of wrist out of anybody in the game. And I think adding a little bit more wrist into my putting and my driving will add some more spin and some more touch. So that's one of the elements of my game that I really struggle with is the down tempo, touchy shots. I think that's a place that I could develop. But what I do really excel at is committing to my lines, and I think that comes from that. Like I don't have any other moving pieces, and I just commit to all my shots. So I'd love to develop those things without like losing the stuff that I already have.
Yeah, the way you throw, it's like as soon as you threw that shot on 14, I knew something happened because you throw with so much commitment that it's very obvious when something happens that doesn't allow, like, you never really, we see that sometimes, and I've done it many times. Something I struggle with is you got a really tight, narrow gap, and like last second, you kind of second guess yourself. You don't really ever do that. You pretty much send it every single time. And so when it doesn't come out that way, like something ends up happening, and obviously the slip there. There's some chatter about people wanting to know why there was no caddy for you the final round. Any insight into that?
I just didn't have any caddy the whole week, and I was like, you know what? I've been playing pretty well without a caddy. I'm just gonna stick with this. Go no caddy. It looked to me like the rain was gonna hold off until later in the day as well. So I was prepared with some stuff, and I'm like, I can battle through the rain, but I don't think it'll be a big enough issue that a caddy will really be necessary. On top of that, it's really hard for me to want to pick up a caddy that I don't know. If my dad was there, I would have loved to have him there. I think a caddy would have made a huge difference. If it was someone like my dad, like some of my friends that have come out and caddied for me before, I would really have liked that. But I just didn't have that situation with the right person that felt right. So definitely a mistake, and I think that it could have helped me out. And I'll try to get more caddies, I think, next year, because I think that would have helped me from spiraling so much.
Well, it's always fun too. Sometimes I remember taking like random caddies, and like you're 6 over through the first four, and you just look at them like it's gonna be a long one.
Yeah, you're like, I'm sorry, you got to deal with me. I've had that, man.
We're waking up early tomorrow, my friend. So it's a little different when they know who you are. You don't feel nearly as bad or awkward in this situation. All right. Well, any shout outs to sponsors? Anyone you want to give a shout out to, man? It's always good talking to you on here.
Yeah, the big thing I want to shout out is Ezra and I's course maintenance channel. Buzzsaws just came out, so if you guys want to support the practice crew, please go get one of those. We've had so much fun with all the videos this year, so everybody that's been a Goose fan, been an Ezra fan, watched our videos, thank you guys so much. It's been a great year, and thank you for sticking with me, even when I'm throwing little temper tantrums there at the end of the round at the Pro Tour Finals.
Here's the thing, man. You're gonna learn the more popular you get, the more haters you're gonna get. But I'll say this: I like not watching robots play disc golf.
Yeah.
And so, like, you get the good with the bad, right? Like, there's gonna be times where I'm like, "Oh my God, Goose, just keep it together, brother." But then you're also getting the part where you're like yelling at yourself as you're running in a huge putt, and like the good comes with the bad, and it's trying to figure out that balance. I'm always going to root for you, man. It's always fun. And, I know you probably, you stirred up a lot of comments this past week. I'm sure you've seen it. Don't get too down on the negative ones. Those seem to always, for whatever reason, we like to pick out the negative. There's way more positive than negative. Don't get down. It was fun watching that battle down the stretch, man, and hope for all good things for you next year, brother.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hey, and I want you to know we all believe in you, dude. You're gonna get one soon. I promise you, man. You're
100%.
too good. You're too good. It's gonna happen. Have a good off season, train, and you'll get one, bud.
Thanks, guys. Yep.
All right, Goose man. Have a good one, brother.
Thanks. Take care.
There you have it, folks. Go support him. Pick up those course maintenance buzz saws over at Discraft. Grab you some. One thing we didn't get into, guys, I've got the solution for number 14. So this never has to happen again. Okay? All you have to do is stop making these islands with drop zones. Just stop it. If your disc lands in bounds, you're in bounds. If your disc doesn't land in bounds, you're out of bounds.
Mm.
And the spotter up there is simply just there to protect you from having to run up to see if you're in or out. That's it. That's all you have to do.
I was surprised at this. I mean, it's an island. It's shaped like an island,
Yeah.
but you could hit the rocks and go to a separate drop zone. I think it was a course. It was a course design flaw for sure. If you're out of bounds, you go to a drop zone and that's it.
Calvin shot, if it was a little higher, it could have easily gone OB left. And then it's like, did it cross? Like the spotter would not have been able to, from where he wouldn't have known if it crossed in bounds or not. You're setting yourself up for failure is what you're doing when you set course design like this. Just make it simple. Just make it super simple. That's it.
Next year.
Stop making it so hard. Go ahead, Gary.
No, I was saying next year, make that change. Or just throw an overhand onto the island. You're okay.
There you go. Anything else from the MPO side, guys? I had a couple things that I wanted to discuss that kind of jumped out to me. The first one was, can we remember a round in disc golf where the likes of Ricky Wysocki, Anthony Barella, Nicholas Antala, and Gannon Burr all shot over par? They shot a combined 18 over par in round one at New London. New London absolutely destroyed some people. Can we think of another round where it got those top players? I mean, I just named off five of the top five, or four of the top five players, top seven players in the world, all shooting over par.
I mean, I got a little flack. Some messages came rolling in that New London wasn't the hardest course in the world. That I said this is the hardest course in the world, and there a lot of people went under par, but there's not a track on the planet that you're going to see that statistic ever again. It's just not going to happen.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. I saw that and I was like, wow. Anything else on the MPO side worth mentioning for you guys?
No, I think it's actually nice if the Pro Tour does commit to this layout. It proves that if the likes of Gannon Burr destroys you the whole entire season and has a big points lead on you or a stroke lead, that it's not just over. So
Yep.
I think
On these courses.
Sure, and I think that's a nice thing. Well, I mean, it almost happened at Nevin as well. Like Ricky had a big time,
which is also extremely difficult. I think it has to be like, you have to have like tough courses.
Of course, but I think one of the chatters was like, this is kind of over before it starts. You're giving the best player a big, or he's taking a big lead into this. Like, why are we even watching it? And it ended up not playing out like that at all.
Yeah, we got some fascinating disc golf at the end. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah. No, I was agreeing with you that I like the fact that I also like hearing that like Goose is tired. Like these 4 rounds were a testament to just the exhaustion that disc golf takes. Ivy Hill, if anyone out there in the chat has never been to Ivy Hill, it is an absolute hike of a course to play. It's physically exhausting. And you tack on New London to that. I mean, there's nothing like climbing to the top of hole 9 at New London and going, guys, we're halfway done. At that point, you would have played a whole 18 holes at your local course. So it's great. I think
I dealt with that in one of the practice rounds. Sorry, my voice is kind of getting shot, but we were like on 9, and I'm like, this has got to be a joke. Like, there's no way we played 8 holes right now. No, it's a crazy course for sure.
I received the best email of my life out in Virginia this week. We were there getting done with our practice round. The next day we have Ivy Hill, and we got an email that I guess the flex event at Ivy Hill went so poorly the day before, they allowed us AMs to have golf carts for our first tournament round at Ivy Hill. Best email I've ever received.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's all. Playing disc golf in a golf cart is so much fun.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Over on the FPO side, Holland Hanley not only wins the points, also wins the tournament. And I thought she had a really good quote. She said something along the lines of, no one is going to remember who won the points. They're going to remember who won the tournament, which I think is pretty fair. And she went out there, been struggling compared to what we expect from her from the beginning of the season. Went out there, put a really great performance together, ends up winning by 4 shots over Paige Pierce, who also very good finish to the season from Paige. Very looking forward to seeing what she goes into the off season. And then you have Sophia with a great finish as well, finishing up there towards the top in 4th place. So impressive stuff there. Anything on the FPO side for you guys?
Just, I would say this is the second event in a row where we see Silva kind of get really slow in the back half of the final round. You know, I wonder if that's like an exhaustion thing with all these tournaments back to back to back, or the pressure. But it's I think a lot of people going to that last round thought this was going to be a battle with Silva down the stretch, and it didn't really turn out to be.
All right, I'm going to put a photo up here for you guys, and I want you to rate this. If you went and spent $15 for this meal, out of a 10, what are you rating this? If this is what you opened and saw that your $15 got you.
What's on that sandwich? Is that pulled
It
pork?
looks like pulled pork, if I had to guess.
Okay, first of all, we got to put the chips back in the bag to give a proper assessment here. That's not doing this photo
Does it
any
look better or worse
favors.
with the chips out?
Because luckily I can see the wrapper. If you got rid of the wrapper completely, that's
Edwin
just a
says it's
hilarious.
pulled chicken. Edwin says it's pulled chicken.
$15. It's a bad meal. It's out
Oh,
of
it's
10.
chicken?
It's
Yeah.
Is pulled pork like a nicer meat, Gary?
Yeah.
Well, no,
Oh,
just
is
if you
it?
told me,
Maybe more
if you
delicate
told
than
me
meat.
it's labor of love. You told me this was some brisket with some barbecue sauce. I could see someone charging $15 for being really solid. But pulled chicken, that's nuts.
But these buns look like the normal like hamburger buns.
Well, first of all, one looks way different than the other.
Yeah, one's like a bigger King's Hawaiian. The other one's like a regular bun.
But apparently this was the meals that someone got for $15. I mean, this is something that I think the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and Edwin was there, so maybe he can let me know, or you guys can let me know if you know, was this like through the Disc Golf Pro Tour, or was this a like a third party food truck that came in?
Food truck.
Hey, at least they got to eat.
I believe it's
This was what a third party food truck was offering.
I'm pretty sure because we got a better meal than that inside the clubhouse. For free.
No, Edwin's saying it was from the
clubhouse.
clubhouse at Ivy.
Oh, I don't
That's
know.
a spectator.
I'm just trying to wonder. I'm trying to get to the bottom of like who's in charge of this, because maybe the Disc Golf Pro Tour has like no say in this. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, it's whatever. But it's like,
Yeah, maybe it's the clubhouse who's like, yeah, sure, we'll make.
I think this is what the populace got. Players.
I mean,
ate a little
I will
different.
say this: I have been to some outings, like at a country club, to where you get a similar meal for.
I mean, their stuff's overpriced. I agree.
for this amount of money.
This doesn't seem like a golf country club meal though.
No, I'm saying like an outing, like, and then they have it out for you, and it's like, okay,
Oh.
you get what I mean. How they have it laid out. It's like, okay, $15, go get your plate of food.
Yeah.
This seems
Well,
like that.
Well, if the Disc Golf Pro Tour has any any like say in the pricing of this stuff. I don't think we should be pricing people out of disc. I think we want to entice people to show up to disc
How
golf.
good was it? First of all, was it tasty?
I don't know. Did anyone have it?
That's a big
It's
selling
the
point.
best. It's the
Like
best
if it
chicken
was,
sandwich of your
pardon
life.
the
Then
pun, buns, then it's not worth it. But what if it was?
I would tell you, but I wouldn't know because they made it so that all of us AMs playing, it was impossible for us to spectate. So the spectator pool could have been bigger if they made it possible for us to spectate. But nope, none of us did.
Edwin says it was definitely from Ivy. I asked after the Pro Am barbecue, and it was terrible. Then the PDGA said that they were provided the food for the tournament as well, which is why I went to the Aussie Bowl place. He says not tasty. Someone at Mad Dog says bring your own food. Okay.
Yeah.
Gary, do you want to talk a little bit about this VIP passes debacle at the Disc Golf Pro Tour Match Play Championship?
Yeah. So essentially for this event, they were selling via 3-day VIP passes, and they were being sold for $143, which, that you definitely want to get a lot of value out of $143. That's a lot to spend to go watch a match play event. And then eventually that became an $81 full access pass. And a lot of the people who spent the original $143 were like, well, can I get a refund? Because I'd rather spend $81 than $143. And they were met with a $70 voucher that could be redeemed for spectator passes at the Queen City Classic. So not really so it's basically, hey, you paid me this now, and then we're going to charge a different amount later to other people, and no, you cannot get the difference back. But if you travel to this other event, you can have the difference back. It's just a really unfortunate way of handling an event that was already kind of mired by the fact that it's at the end of the season, 2 weeks later. It's going to be competing with several other events locally that I guess are kind of important or big. So it's already not going to have a great spectator outing. It's just, I don't know. It's a very, very unfortunate. Another decision that just doesn't make any sense for the Pro Tour.
Yeah, I think we have our next cash cow.
What is it?
We're going to come out with a Tour Life disc. All right. And we're going to charge $50 for it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's going to be this crazy, crazy disc. And then once we get a bunch of people to spend the $50 on it, we're then going to say, actually, we're just going to charge the rest of the people that want to buy it $25. And then when people are like, okay, that's fine, give me my $25 back, we're going to say, actually, we're going to let you use that $25 for the next disc that we're going to drop next year. We'll make so much money.
We will make a lot of money. I feel like this does happen though in sporting events. Like you can buy a ticket and then get it cheaper as the concert or the sporting event gets closer.
Yeah, but,
like that's a real.
But
thing.
you can also just get your money back, I think.
No, not if you do it through like a third party and stuff. That's not true.
Yeah, you
like
can just sell those tickets to somebody else.
You can sell them to stuff, or they give you.
Well, like are you saying like if something's canceled? Is what you're saying?
I'm saying like if you buy a ticket to a sporting event,
yeah,
and you buy it early. Typically you buy it early, it's probably going to be less expensive. But there is cases where you buy it early and then you can go to the door and get it.
And it's cheaper.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah. That's not unusual.
No.
So I think the problem I know, but the problem here though, Yuli, is they're basically saying everyone's gonna be VIP now. I think that's the big issue, right? And also that's also known.
Yo, for sure. No, I'm with you. I'm just like saying that I'm just saying this. It's not like this situation doesn't occur in other sports. Like when you buy tickets,
different. It's different. Like if
it's
I buy
different
a ticket,
in the disc golf world because I would definitely be angry if I bought a VIP ticket and then they're like, no, now they're on sale for $80, and I'm like, well, what the heck? I paid this amount for it. Like, that's not fair. And then they send me a voucher to it. The voucher to the tournament that is in the same area and not the same date is a little crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. But I feel
That's
like a lot of us know when we buy, like if I was to buy a sporting event ticket right now.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm going to buy the Cowboys are actually having a decent season. Okay. So let's say I'm going to say, you know what, I want to buy the last Cowboys home game. If I were to buy it right now, it's probably going to be pretty expensive. And let's say Dak gets hurt, CD gets hurt, Pickens gets hurt, like all these guys get hurt. Now all of a sudden the ticket's going to be cheap. I know that going into that. I don't think that's ever something with the Disc Golf Pro Tour. There's not a precedent set from the Disc Golf Pro Tour that
no, you're right. Yeah.
you need to buy tickets now to make sure you get your tickets because they might go away and then you have to get them on a third-party website.
For sure.
Like that's not a thing. And so that's where it's like, to me, what this seems like is no one bought these tickets and they're like, crap, we need to sell more tickets. So what do? Let's cut the price. And the easiest way that you could fix it is just say, hey, we didn't realize we're just going to refund you back the change in price. And I don't think anyone would be an issue. But the voucher to an event that you probably don't even want to go to, that's crazy.
Well, it sounded like they were giving you was the voucher worth more than you would have gotten back for the cash?
I think that's what that's what Mike.
So you get more with the voucher and you would have got, so I mean, that's kind of cool.
It's like, true,
but you're still not getting.
You've got to come back to the event. It's going to cost the person more.
No, but they offered the cash refund, right, of $55, which would have made it the same amount as the other one.
Less.
No, I don't think so.
No, it'd been less. It'd been 136 compared to 143 because of taxes and stuff like that.
Like they're not still giving you your full refund back, which I think is weird. I don't know. I just saw that was kind of a strange way of handling that. So there you have it. If you guys
at least we do know that they're giving cash,
because
if they just were like, you're getting a voucher and that's it, that's insane to me.
That's tough. That's tough. Agreed. All right, a couple questions and then a couple more things and then questions and then we're out of here. So two kind of big retirement announcements actually just came out one after the other. So Ben Calloway went on the All Birdies No Bogeys podcast and announced that he will be retiring from touring next year. It sounded like he wasn't doing like a full disc golf retirement. He said it sounded like he still, was competitive, and if the money was there, he would still be out there playing. But he's also expecting their second child. So congratulations to him and his family. But we're losing one of the best backhand throwers on tour. I mean, watching this guy play, he's definitely probably in my top 5 of like enjoying watching the backhand. It's so smooth. So sad to see him go, especially after winning his first time too on tour.
Yeah. One of the craziest things I think that he doesn't get credit for is he's older. Like he's older than me.
Yeah. He doesn't look it.
No. Yeah.
He looks like a young guy.
Yeah. And he got that big win this year. So it's kind of nice to see him, have well, not nice to see him have this decision, but making this decision after a successful year is a nice thing to see.
So if you want to hear that, go over to the All Birdies No Bogeys podcast over on Jomez and give a listen to it. He kind of goes in and talks a little bit about just how, I believe it's his daughter is growing up, and he just, when she was younger, it was kind of like not that big of a deal of him being gone a little bit because she just didn't have any sense of time. Where now, as you get older, it's kind of like, all right, dad's been gone for 3 weeks. Whereas, and he just, it seems like he just wants to be a dad. So hats off to him for making that decision. And, we wish the best for him and his family. James Proctor also made an announcement over on his Instagram that he will be retiring as well. James Proctor, 2 times Disc Golf Pro Tour champion, really nice guy as well. and we will no longer be seeing any more of him. He seemed like he was struggling a little this year with an injury and just never was able to have like a full tour. And I don't know if that's what led into it. Do you guys have any intel on his decision? No? Okay.
Nothing.
So sad to see those two guys go.
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's going to be more than just those two guys, because it does seem, there are guys that are getting older, Yuli. And if you don't have things in place to be able to be out on tour making money, it's very, very tough. It's very, very tough to survive out there.
It's a young man's game. It really
100%. All right. Steven wants to know, was there anything else you guys want to discuss before we go into the listener questions?
No.
Any other stories? All right. Steven, is the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship worthy of being called a major? It has the strongest field on average, points accumulated throughout the season, so you have to earn the stroke difference, and the biggest payout, but it just feels like the FedEx Cup in golf. Yuli, this is a great question for you. Do we need to add another major?
No.
And does it need to be the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship?
I mean, you could drop a major and add this one. You could do that, but you'd have to have a full
with
field.
The stroke advantage still.
No. What are we talking about? You'd have to have a bigger finale. You'd have to have like the finals. I don't think the sport's there yet in order to make this a major. Like you'd have to have like the tour finale be like 60 minimum, 65 minimum players. That way you get the full field and the major effect. But I think what the Pro Tour needs to do is stick to something, stick to a location, and ride it out for a while. Yeah.
Johnny Riggs wants to know, is it harder to have a close friend going through a meltdown than it is a random person? That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's more for us watching as like a fan.
I mean, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. I think there's a difference though. Like once somebody calls, the 2 minutes and you're in action, I don't really care who I'm playing against. The only person that I've ever had like strong feelings for and I like really rooted for and felt bad when they played bad was my brother. And that was always really tough, like competing, locally with my brother. And I always remember just being like, dang it, like it made me feel bad when he was playing bad. And that's the only person that I could recognize a different feeling out there.
Yeah. Final question comes from Ben. He wants to know, what are your thoughts on New London? What changes, upgrades would you make for it to be a better course for the upcoming Champions Cup? I'll let you guys go with this one.
Go ahead, Gary. I gotta blow my nose. Sorry.
You're good. No, I like the course a lot. And I know it's Gary. You're not a pro. I played it this weekend. I played. I played it a few times. I think it's a really great course that demands so much of players in terms of landing zones. I don't know that I would change too much. I think it's a great course as it is. The only unfortunate thing, there's a couple really long walks between holes, but like I don't know what you're going to do to change that. I would say they have to figure out from like a spectator perspective how they're going to make that solid for people, because you had the situation with a spectator being hit on one of the drives, which you're in the woods, tree kicks happen and they go random places. So they're going to have to find a way to maximize the watchability, how spectators are going to be able to navigate that course safely and effectively. But in terms of the course and the way it's played for the actual pros, I don't know that you change too much. I think it's great.
Panic Buyer just asked in the chat, I want to watch Gary play. How can I watch Gary play? Gary?
Well, you can see me do a bunch of random fun stuff over on Instagram at Thumber Life. I have a good time over there. I post a bunch of fun reels. I just called out Johnny McRae in a turbo putt battle recently, and I've heard that he's in the field preparing a response to take me down turbo putt style. But you can also watch me on the upcoming Imposter series along with Brody. It's going to be absolutely incredible. It releases here in just a couple days. I'm telling you, it's some of the best content Foundation's ever put out. if you're a big fan of people like Barabite, like Jay Millie, Robbie C, Brody, Trev, it's honestly fantastic. It's a wild and just chaotic series. It's a good time. You should tune in to watch it.
If we can get you away for, I know you're really busy, but if we can get you away for a few days, I think you would really enjoy this show.
When do you guys film it?
When we film it this year, we filmed it back in.
This is like July, I think. No, June.
Yeah.
July. Yeah, beginning of July.
They normally try to do it on an off week. So
it's not that far away. I've learned that. It's not that far away from Charlotte, right? Did you do it in
I thought you were saying
Virginia?
July is not that far away. I was like, what are you talking
no,
about?
I'm saying distance from where I live.
Yes,
yeah.
we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it in Virginia, most likely again. But it is. Do we have? Can we show the trailer for that real quick? Is that something, Paul? I know PJ, I'm putting you on the spot there, but that's something you can put on the. If you can bring that up, and we can go out to that and show the people that before we head out, that'll be awesome. I think it's over on Foundation's Instagram. You have anything else for the people? I mean, this is kind of our final Tour Life episode where the season's actually stuff that we're going to be talking about.
No. I mean, I'm looking forward to the off season. The first couple days here have been awesome. Hanging with my daughter and giving my wife a little break from momming 100% of the time. So shout out to her, who's an absolute rock, and the foundation to be able to do what I do. Obviously, Discraft's incredible. It gives me the chance to do what I do as well, and all the other sponsors that go with it, Vessi and Zuka and Pastry Dyes. I haven't done a lot of shout outs on here as far as sponsorship though goes, and I should probably do more, but I am appreciative of those people who and the fans of the people who keep me out there, Joe Mez and everything. And it was a fun year. I mean, I'll tell you this much, I will go into this off season and I have a lot of stuff to work on. It's going to be, I'm not the type of guy who has a season and then I'll be okay with it. I don't think I've ever been like that. And so learning to have a different sort of practice with my daughter and different things and working on stuff is going to be a unique experience this off season, but I'll figure it out and I'll still put in a lot of time because I want to improve. And I think I still have a lot to offer as far as me on the course. So that's where my head's at.
Love that. Gary?
No, I think we're good. I mean, so what was the question again? I'm responding to a chat member. My apologies.
Sorry, I was going to say, this is your time if you want to, shout out any people you want to shout out. This was we did a great season. 2025 was awesome, guys.
No, this was fantastic. Obviously, I love getting a chance to jump on here and give my 2 cents in. And I'm always an advocate for that. You don't have to be a player to know ball, and I appreciate the opportunity to get to just throw my opinion out there. And I love the way the sport is going, and I think there's some really cool stuff that we've been talking about the off season of the things we want to do, and maybe talk to some people who are new players on the tour who want to get involved and grow, and talk to some players who've been on the tour for a while. There's a lot of great off-season content coming, so make sure you tune in for that.
I will say this. I will say
that
to the haters out there. I don't know why, because it's called Tour Life, they think that you have to be on tour to be able to talk about what happens on tour. Like that's it. Like it's our title. Yes. When we made Tour Life, Brody and I were both on tour, but it's just the name. And I will be on tour for the foreseeable future. So we will have a little be in touch with what's going on out there as far as that goes. But I just don't like,
I feel like
comments.
It's the perfect mixture.
Yeah. I just don't like to see the comments out there of being like, well, Brody's not even on tour. Why is he even on here? Well, because he started the show. And then, like, what are you talking about? Like, he doesn't even. Why is this guy on here? Or when I see the comments of like what Gary's doing on there, I think it's a perfect amount of perspective to have somebody who's not a professional touring, who consumes all the content and who cares about the sport as far as that goes. I think it's a perfect mix, and I'm glad to see the parity that we have here and the way that we're able to conversate and everything. And I do also want to thank Foundation, because this is a Foundation podcast, and I don't have a lot of association with Foundation except for this podcast. So for them to allow me to have a voice on here, I don't take it lightly, and I am appreciative of that.
Yeah, no, I think it
100%.
works out great. We have a perfect mixture. We bring on guests that are touring pros that most of the time either had a big weekend winning or something impactful happen. We've got the touring pro legend with Yuli. We've got the has been, or maybe the never was, and myself. And then we've got Gary, who's, consuming it. And as a lot of times, talking about things that maybe are going over me and Yuli's heads that the fans are looking at and want to know more. So I like the mixture. And here's the thing. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen. That's the beautiful thing. PJ and Mike crushed it as well this season.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks,
And do we have the imposter? Here we go.
At least one of you will become an imposter.
It's a poor shot on my end. You don't do things like that.
He's running around saying, you can't do this, you can't do that.
No one's throwing well enough.
I'm just a little bit confused.
You're voting on that zero!
There might be multiple imposters.
Gentlemen, the votes are in. We are going to have to remove you from the show.
Yeah, so it's just normal, fun, fun times.
I'm in just from that clip.
So that is dropping this Thursday, guys. You're not going to want to miss it. Gary?
Just so you know, Yuli, no matter what you do on the show, Brody will always think you're an imposter. It's kind of how it goes.
Hey, I'm skeptical of everyone. What can you say? What can you say? This Thursday, Foundation Disc Golf. Don't miss it. Thank you, everyone, to watching this season. This offseason should be fun. We're going to be having some new, like Gary was saying, this is a perfect time to bring on some guests that maybe we wouldn't necessarily bring on during the season. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you guys so much. We had over 1,000 people listening to this one live. Shout out to both our guests tonight, Calvin and Goose, for both coming on. Always awesome to talk to both of those guys. We thank all of you so much, and we'll see you guys in the next one.